Good day and welcome. I feel like it's funny because our guy Ebo does a morning show, got me in the mood yesterday. I was watching his video, and I keep thinking of the Doors song called This Is the End. Like it just should be this very ominous start to the day. Yes. And this is what the Packers should be like, flying back into Green Bay as the plane lands on this cloudy afternoon. Aaron Rodgers appropriately dressed all in black like some kind of crazy Undertaker. I don't know what that whole thing is. But it just, the plane lands. It takes a long time for the door to open, as if they're all in there talking about what they're going to say, or maybe they just don't want to come back to Lambeau Field. And it touches down, the puffs of smoke, the plane door doesn't open for a while. Finally, the stairs are out, the door pops open, and then this song starts to play as the team now loads onto the tarmac and then ultimately walks towards the terminal to pick up their bags. Yeah, not the best way to go.
Man. So welcome into the program after that unbelievably poor performance, which means every Packers fan and Packer Nation pretty much feels the same way Ben Kenney does today. Ben, is Ben in today? Ben doesn't get there for about another hour, right?
Ben will be in around 11, I do believe, yeah. Bill. So he's misery loves company. Yeah. So I think with his, Debbie Downer of not only the Philadelphia Phillies losing, but also in MLS, the Philadelphia Union lost their final championship as well. I don't think Ben cares about that.
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah. He'll love the fact that us Packer fans are in misery.
Yeah, your video inspired me yesterday. I got to admit, and by the way, I am a Bullet Bourbon fan. So yeah, I like that.
Same.
Yeah. You know what really, I've told this before, and it's this time of year. If you find yourself in a grocery store that actually has jugs of real cider, you go and get yourself a jug of cider. You put in a tall glass, you put in about 3 pours of Bullet Bourbon. You fill the bottom of it with a big giant squirt of maple syrup. You pour in the cider, and then you put in a couple of splashes of orange bitters. Oh my God, that'll change your life, Ebo.
I'm going to try it, Bill. I'm going to give you one. 2 ounces of bourbon, 1 ounce of sweet vermouth, a splash of bitters, and some cherry juice with a cherry in it. You stir it, not shaken, stirred, and then strain it in a glass. Get yourself a nice little Manhattan.
I'll do that, too. Hell yeah, I'll do that.
Because you need booze on booze on booze to get through this Packer season.
Yes, you do. That was my my video this morning. I sat down in the bar, and I went downstairs. I was doing a little cleaning. Because I'm getting ready for what's upcoming here in December. And so I was kind of already starting to do some things. I sat in the bar and I'm just sitting there thinking, as a Packers fan, what do you do? And then I kind of had the phone like pointing behind me and I'm like, oh, there you go. All that liquor back there. Just drink.
So, Bill, I played this on my show last week and we had Derek from Albany, New York just called in and he wanted me to play something for you. Can I play something? It's about 20 seconds.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. Take a listen.
So I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. I want you to get up right now.
There you go.
Yep. No, I am beyond that at this point. As a fan, I'm like heartbroken because the season came in with such incredible optimism. The defense was supposed to be better. I posted this earlier today. I was watching Good Morning Football. Yesterday, the New York Jets, they had 5 sacks and 14 pressures beyond, 19 total plays using only a 4-man rush yesterday. And that was supposed to be the defensive front for the Green Bay Packers, picking up Jerron Reed, bringing in Devontae Wyatt to roam the middle. I mean, all of this different stuff was supposed to happen. It hasn't happened. Dean Lowry's contract has proven to be nothing more than a paperweight. Unfortunately, Christian Watson banged up again as your top draft choice and wide receiver. Romeo Doubs goes down with an ankle injury. Now you got Rashawn Gary out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. it's just the wheels came off in Detroit. And did you watch? I mean, obviously we were watching the game yesterday. Did you hear what Sean Payton said at halftime?
What was he saying?
Sean Payton said, because Howie Long had talked about Aaron Rodgers and leadership, and then Michael Strahan was talking about, hey, if they get right, they get. And Sean Payton looked at him and said, you know what? This is like the fifth game in a row that we've said this is the get right game. There is no more get right. This is done. And I thought, man, what a statement. But he's dead on right. This is done. When you lost to a really good Jets team, you lost to a Giants team, you lost to a bad Washington Commanders team. Obviously, the Bills game was going to be a tough game, but all of that, and I said that at the time, don't give me false hope. Don't talk about running the football down their throats and all the different stuff that came in the second half. And, I granted they finally did run the ball, but all this stuff they were doing was too little too late. And as much as yesterday was one of the worst performances I have ever seen out of Aaron Rodgers, maybe going back to his very first game ever in the NFL, I lay the undisciplined crap play calling, everything, the lack of innovation, all of that at the feet of Matt LaFleur, and personnel-wise on Brian Gutekunst. All of it's there.
Bill, I have a theory here that the play to David Bakhtiari for the touchdown that was just severely underthrown by Rodgers, and I don't even know why you're throwing David Bakhtiari to begin with when he's never known for his hands. He's a lineman.
Right.
I think because Rodgers was talking about, a spark, like finding a way to, win again. And Packer Nation would have gone crazy if they would have seen Rodgers connect to Bakhtiari, two, cult heroes and they're best buddies as well. Like that could have been the spark to get things moving again. And like rejuvenating everyone. I think Rodgers called that play, and then whatever happened, it was the worst play of the game in my opinion. The Bakhtiari pass that destroyed the season.
I just don't understand. First of all, on one hand, and I saw Michael Irvin said this morning. He said, "Is that your best option at the goal line? A guy that can barely walk, that can barely play, that can't stay on the field." Now, your best option is obviously other players, but it's a terrific call because nobody expected it. But the execution was unbelievably piss poor. But is that what you're coming to? Is that you've got to throw a pass to David Bakhtiari? And again, on one hand, the call, he was wide open. It was a brilliant call. But if that's your thought process, how desperate have you become to try to get points? And then the execution of the incredibly poor footwork, the bad throw. I mean, it was almost like yesterday, and again, I don't want to put any thoughts in anybody's head, but it's like Rodgers just didn't care. I mean, he was mad. He's screaming and yelling at himself. How do you throw one off of the face of a defender? I've never seen that. How do you throw one that is wide open at David Bakhtiari, but you so severely underthrow it that it gets picked off by a dropping linebacker? He played about as poor as he can possibly play. Now, people say, well, they want to blame it on the thumb, but the thumb's not even wrapped up and he doesn't talk about it. And I go back to what Larry McCarron said to me years ago. Look, you can play hurt, but if you can't play well hurt, then all you're doing is hurting your team and you need to let somebody else play your position. And if the thumb is the issue, then he shouldn't have been playing to begin with. And then ultimately, again, it would be Aaron Rodgers that cost you whatever it is, whether it's a victory or numerous victories or whatever. But yesterday's game was so effing bizarre. It was good. It was a good game, entertainment wise, but an unbelievably piss poor game.
Bill, I'm going to read you a couple numbers, then I'm going to ask you a question. Okay.
Yeah.
38, 27, 28, 48, 29, 24, 31. Those are all of the scores the Lions have given up to leading up to what happened. How many points did the Packers score?
9. You scored 9 points against the worst defense in football.
9.
That is unbelievably pathetic. And because I picked the Lions to win. So on one hand, I'm sitting here going, yeah, I saw this coming. But I'm not reveling in that because this was an embarrassingly bad performance for the Green Bay Packers. This was one where if Matt LaFleur did not have the contract extension, he would have been fired yesterday. The announcement would have come out after 13-3 seasons. He's lost the team. The team is undisciplined. The team isn't good. This was on paper was a team that got better. And the only loss they had was Devontae Adams. You could say MVS and Equinemius St. Brown. I get that. But the only big major starter loss on paper was basically Devontae Adams. And you go into the season with optimism that you can make this thing go. You keep saying, well, that's unacceptable. We'll have to check the tape when it talks about the run game. You keep talking about mistakes and all these penalties and these undisciplined plays. These are the things that got Mike McCarthy fired. So because he just signed a contract, chances are Matt LaFleur is going to get through the season. They're going to give him a chance to hit the reset button, and he's going to continue on. But between Gutekunst not making a move and knowing this team needed a move, they needed something and not getting it. It looks like the team gave up. And I know they talk about, well, guys were fighting to the end, and they did. Everybody fights individually because they've got a job to do and because they've got a future to worry about. But as a team, this thing looked deflated before they even the opening kick sucked. Remember the opening kick? It's like, did he miss the ball?
That was foreshadowing. We should have seen that.
Oh my God! It was. They started on the 40.
Just like what? I'm like, what was that?
Yeah, I thought there's no way Rich Bisaccia planned that out. You know what? Detroit sucks so bad. Let's give him to the 40. I thought he just missed the ball. He just flat out missed the ball. It was a horrible, horrible performance. And this is in no way the way any team vying for any kind of success plays. It's that bad. And I don't know how you run it back next year with LaFleur. Now, I was listening today, and the questions are coming up. Is LaFleur and Rodgers, are they not on the same page? Is there problems? Nobody really knows what's going on behind the scenes. Perception becomes reality because people see a lot of things on television where Rodgers is pissed and he's walking past LaFleur and LaFleur is trying to talk to him. And then, he doesn't answer LaFleur. But I don't know what it's like behind the scenes. But it's starting to look kind of reminiscent of when I used to see Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy would say something. He'd just walk right past him. He wouldn't say a word, or he'd look at him and give him kind of a half-assed answer as he walks past him. Like, whatever, that's the kind of perception outwardly that's starting to be portrayed by this Packers team and by the quarterback and the head coach. And the head coach looks lost. He just throws his hands in the air like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And you can talk about Sammy Watkins. He's not the sharpest knife in the drawer. He tries really hard, but, I don't know if the Mensa meeting missed his house or what, but when you have outside or inside pressure, you take it outside, which is clearly where the pass went, and still he fights through the inside pressure and then throws his hands in the air like, what? If you don't know, I know that, for God's sakes. If you don't know that, then I have no idea what you're doing.
I think he's starting from the wrong playbook. I think he's still got the Ravens playbook.
I don't get it. I just don't get it. So I'm just like at a kind of a loss today. Everybody's kind of anticipating some kind of massive rant. My rant yesterday was at the beginning of the postgame show. It went for 20 minutes. So yesterday was the rant because it was the emotion. It was the anger. I've sat here today and I woke up this morning and I just thought, season's over. There is no hope of postseason. During COVID, people found other things to do. People are going to do other things. Getting tickets to Lambeau Field, going to be easy. Getting tickets to close by games, like when Minnesota comes to town, Minnesota fans are going to eat those tickets up. They go to Chicago, so chances are Chicago tickets are going to be at a premium because now Chicago has a real belief. Can you imagine what that game's going to be like when Rodgers comes out of the tunnel and after they lose because Chicago's going to beat them. After they lose in Chicago, and Chase Claypool scores once or twice on them, the guy that they should have gone out and gotten, or another receiver of same ilk, and then Rodgers can't do the I still own you belt. Can you imagine what it's going to be like for Rodgers every time he has a bad play, a misstep, a bad snap, an interception of any kind? It is going to be awful inside Soldier Field. Awful, without a doubt. So I'm trying to think of a game that they would even be favored in. And there's not a game on the docket that's left. They're going to get do you think if they lose 42-10 on Sunday against Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys, that would be very reminiscent of Brett Bielema walking back into Camp Randall, whooping Paul Christ's ass to leave him jobless the next day?
I mean, it's so similar, but I don't know if the head coach is getting fired. There has to be something. There has to be some kind of culling. Like something has to happen to do a spark or show to the fan base that they're serious about something. I don't know what it is, but when, not if, when Mike McCarthy and the boys come and tune up the Packers, something needs to happen.
And here's the problem, is that yesterday, for as dumb as this sounds, you can't blame Joe Barry. You can't blame Joe Barry. Now, Darnell Savage went the wrong way on the touchdown pass. I understand that. But you can't blame Joe Barry. They gave up 15 points. 15 points. That's it. You can't blame Joe Barry for that. What do you do? This team just sucks in all facets, but the defense at least was better with adversity, with losing Rashawn Gary and company. I mean, the Packers are only giving up 20.9 points per game after yesterday. 20.9. They're trending in the right direction. They're going down as the season moves on. 20.9. That puts you in the top half of the National Football League. The Detroit Lions are giving up 29.3 points per game. They are dead last in the NFL. They suck. I mean, like swamp water through a garden hose, and you put up 9 points.
What's going on faster, the defense point wise or the offense? They can't do anything.
No,
you know what I think is funny too?
Worse.
Is like, yeah, they're going to try and switch things up. They put Adam Stenavich, who's usually on the sidelines, up in the box this game. Right. It's like, oh my God.
Right. Oh, they are 7th worst in the National Football League, averaging a whopping 17.1 points per game. They fell an entire point in this game. After this game, they went from 18.1 to 17.1 points per game. And if I'm Mike McCarthy, the way things went down, getting fired still in the midst of the season and such, you better believe somebody just said, will Mike McCarthy run it up? Are you kidding me? Mike McCarthy will take that red hot poker and stick it as far up the rear end of the Green Bay Packers as he can possibly shove it. Oh, God, yes. If they can come in here and put an emphatic stand, especially after the whole Des Bryant non-catch thing from years gone by, are you kidding me? Oh, my God. If they get a chance to run it up, you got both Pollard and Elliott. Now no Rashawn Gary. Your defensive front is not any better. They're going to run the football madly, as much as you possibly can. Now, you better hope they run the football on. At least that, at that point in time, will lower the scoring rather than just making it some kind of a passing track meet. But, oh, my God. I would take the Cowboys in the over in this game just because. And am I like outside of the box of any other Packers fan thought process out there? And it doesn't. Here's the other thing. Let me say this for a second. I know I'm woefully late and I don't give a damn. But because you're pissed off and because you look at things in reality does not make you not a Packers fan. Because I get so many people that get pissed off to say, oh, come on, you got to support them. I support them. There is nothing more in this world than myself, than Ebo. First of all, anybody in this business wants more than anything is a team that wins. A team that wins business-wise is good for business, first and foremost, okay? That's number one. But number two is I grew up a Packers fan. I've told this story a million times. My parents were huge Bart Starr fans. I grew up with Lombardi quotes all over my house. Hell yes, I want to see the Packers win. But I also look at it as a realist, and I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. This team sucks. Matt LaFleur this year sucks. This year, Aaron Rodgers sucks. Was it all Devontae Adams? It had to have been, right? Because Aaron Rodgers can throw anybody open. Everything's going to be better. The personnel is better. The defense is better. Joe Barry is more smart than he's ever been before. Am I not right? It had to be Devontae Adams. This whole thing has just completely come off the rails. Completely. Let's do this. We're going to step away, take a quick break. Hang in there. Got a lot more to get to on a very fiery Monday. Stay tuned. We are brought to you by our friends at Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the Bill Michaels Sports Talk Network. We'll be back right after this.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you back. The Bill Michaels Show continues on this Monday, November 7th. The clocks have been fast forwarded backwards, if that's such a thing. And it's gonna be dark in about a half an hour, so we better get through the program relatively quick. Good to have you on board. Got a lot of people chiming in today over in the Bud Light live stream, and I appreciate it. For everybody with what they've questions and such. This one's from Bruce. It says Aaron Rodgers could have Devontae here, but it wouldn't matter. He's hardly had an uncontested throw all season long. You still have to put the ball where the receiver can catch it. And I agree with you again, Bill. Don't say I'm not a Packer fan for criticizing a really blank Packers team. I say blank because I cannot use that particular word over the air. Will says, I'm Mike McCarthy. I'm a highly successful NFL coach. I would agree with that. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Corinne says, did you see that TJ Lang said on the Detroit Lions radio network that he's never seen Aaron Rodgers this mad? Well, I guess not. It was his worst game that I've ever seen him play. He played poorly. He threw poorly. His footwork was bad. He's got happy feet because he's gotten his ass beat all season long. The offensive line, again, David Bakhtiari in, then out, then in, that can't play an entire game, but yet he becomes a receiver for whatever reason. This team's going to look different next year. And I'll say one thing, and EB, I get it. He says, well, Aaron Rodgers is the guy that came back and gave more money back to the team, $28 million. Look, I get the contract situation. Okay, I understand that. And people are going after it today and say, well, Aaron Rodgers did that. He restructured because he had to. Okay? Don't act like Aaron Rodgers gave you some kind of a team discount. Right? Because he didn't. What he did was he gave you a restructure. And that's what he should have done. Had he took a 3-year contract extension for $151 million. Next year, his cap hit's only going to be 31. In 2024, it's going to be 40. Then it's going to be 60 million in 2025 and 54 million close to in 2026. Okay? So basically, it's a 3-year deal. So you got this year, next year, and the year after, and then you can pretty much part ways with him if you choose to do so. You can do it actually after next year. Next year, he'll be back next year because the cash buyout is $59 million next year. He's got 59 million reasons to come back with all the money that's going to be put into signing bonus and option bonus and all that kind of stuff, and then the cap. But if he walks away, it's like close to $60 million that you're going to owe that guy. And you can't. So he's back next year. After that, his cap hit would be 40 million, but yet the dead cap money would be 24. So in essence, you would gain $16 million. So after the 2023 season is when it becomes possible. If you decide, okay, look, we don't want to do this anymore, you go in that direction, that's when you can buy him out. But he's back next year. And if he decides to retire next year, you're screwed. I mean, the team is screwed because they got $60 million. They got to pay him right damn now because of the guaranteed money. So you look at this year and you go, it's a wash. You're done. It's over. Now you start looking towards next year and the money that you're going to have to get rid of. And Bakhtiari, gone. I'm sorry. I know he's a fan favorite. My ass, though, it doesn't matter anymore. He's done after this year. You're going to gain $6 million in salary cap space. He's got a salary cap hit next year of close to $30 million as an offensive lineman. No way you're going to gain $6 million. You take it and you run. Talk to you later, Dave. I mean, he's been a tremendous offensive lineman, but this whole comeback from the knee issue, awful. Awful. It just hasn't worked out. Preston Smith will be here. Preston Smith is going to be here. He's one of your higher paid guys going into next season. Kenny Clark, Dean Lowry's contract for what he is after this year, gone. Talk to you later. If you re-sign Dean Lowry because he's your best option, you're in trouble. You got a guy in the defensive backfield. I like Adrian Amos. I really do. You got to figure out what you're going to do with him. But I like him as a kind of a calming influence. Jair just signed. Aaron Jones is going to be a question mark next year because going into next season, you're going to owe him $20 million as a cap hit, whereas you buy him out for only $9 million, which means you gain $11 million in cap space. Unless you rework that and keep him here, most likely he would be gone. So you lose that weapon. But I would assume you're going to keep him around. Rashawn Gary, you still have. Mason Crosby's probably going to be gone. Elton Jenkins, you got to figure out. Mercedes Lewis probably going to be gone. Devondre Campbell going to be here, and then it kind of goes down from there. But you got to figure out what you're going to do with this team and what direction you're going to go. And I also think at some point you really got to think serious about getting into the free agent market and not with some of these retread craptastic people. You got to find some people that you can go out and pay and say, you know what, we're in on this. And you got to, if indeed Jordan Love's your guy, you got to stock the cupboard for him too. Otherwise, you're going to have a severe drop off after Aaron Rodgers leaves. And you don't want that either. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Let's see here. Let's go to a Bruce. Bruce, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Man, did I just not hear you say that? Sounds to me like you over there going for the Cowboys, man.
I'm not going for the Cowboys. I'm just looking at reality. Or do you think there's any chance in hell the Packers win that game next Sunday?
Hell no.
Right.
No, not come on.
Right.
They lost 5 in a row.
Right.
I will be shocked if they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Man, come on.
Yep.
How you gonna score under 20 points with the last 2 games, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Look, I'm tired of Aaron Rodgers. Can't you give the young guy a shot? I mean, if Aaron Rodgers ain't doing nothing, like you said, he's always in shotgun. He's either overthrows or underthrows, or he's just trying to scramble. He's trying to make a play. And man, it's not no Brent Favre.
Well, the problem with Rodgers is that we can look at the offensive line and say how bad that's been when we thought it would be a lot better. Rodgers is clearly off. He doesn't trust anybody, which I find it interesting that all these other quarterbacks can go out and start throwing to new guys, but Rodgers has to develop some 3-year responsibility with these guys, and yet he doesn't want to show up in preseason to do anything and wants to put all the responsibility on the coaches and on Randall Cobb. I don't know. I mean, you can pretty much stack all the cinder blocks up to build the wall to say, here's the wall that was going to prevent you from having success. Not one individual thing makes that big of a difference, but when you stack them all up, piss away your season. Right?
Come on, man. I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready to cut Rodgers loose, man. How much? You need to ask the Packer fans this: how much more can you take of Rodgers? How much more? He seems like he doesn't want to own up to his mistakes, but you want to blame everybody else.
Well, he did say yesterday that he played. I'll say poorly would be the adjective that I would use because he used a different one that I can't use on the air.
But he says that all the time, man. He said. He comes to the podium with different excuses, man. How much more you got to give the man? Come on, seriously.
Well, let me ask you this, Bruce. What do you want to hear him say at the podium?
You know what? I just want the truth. I just want the truth. Either he's happy or he's not. You don't look happy.
No, nobody's happy when you're getting your ass kicked like that in embarrassing fashion.
He does not look happy. And look, okay, he's never lost 5 games in a row. He's never done that. Okay, so this is probably new. Nobody likes to lose, but I'm sorry. If you can pay all this money and your general manager is not going to get you help, why play? Why? I don't know, man. It's just, it is what it is. But it's the truth. If he's not playing with heart, then why are you playing for the Packers?
Yeah, Bruce, I appreciate it, man. I got to run. I got to go to a break. But just breaking news, the Colts have fired their head coach. Frank Reich is now out, per Adam Schefter, numerous sources, including Dan Dockich down in Indianapolis, all confirming Frank Reich has been fired by the Indianapolis Colts. The head coach of the Colts is out. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Cool weather, brisk winds, and a hot deal. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Is your home ready for winter weather? Don't wait. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years. When it's cold outside, thanks to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, you'll be warm and toasty inside. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can be installed in as little as a day, with little to no disruption to your family or your home. Plus, you'll get expert advice from our Pella specialists, professional installation by Pella's certified installers, and the excellent service our customers have come to expect. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin has products and warranty offers you won't find anywhere else. Don't wait for the heating bills to start piling up. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Expires 11/30/2022. Certain exclusions and restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Life's about taking the road less traveled, and doing it in style, well, that makes it even better. Take the Tahoe. This November, Potawatomi is giving away not one, but 2 Chevy Tahoes. Just play with your club card and you could win a brand new Chevy Tahoe or your share of over $400,000 in cash and prizes. Your win is waiting. Take the Tahoe. Only at Potawatomi. Visit paysbig.com/Tahoe for more. Must be 21 years old and a club member to play.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Welcome back to the program. If you're going to be heading over to see the undefeated Milwaukee Bucks anytime soon, take the shuttles to and from the game down to the Fiserv from Steny, second and National Walker's Point. Milwaukee's best sports bar, also your NHL bar as well, catching all the college hoops on top of that. And they run shovels to damn near everything. So stop over and see our friends over at Steny, second and National Walker's Point in Milwaukee. 877-867-1670. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go to our buddy Mike with St. Louis and Whitewater. Mike, how you doing today, man? What's up?
Hey, Billy. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay. I feel, depressed that the season's pretty much over, but beyond that, I'm okay. I'm living life.
Yeah, I got tickets for Sunday night. I don't know, buddy. But here's my the reason I'm calling is the GOAT does it again. Less than a minute, no timeout, and takes them down for the winning touchdown. And we've got 2 timeouts, and we throw 4 into the end zone instead of short passes like Brady did to get them close. We seem, like you said, and you got that running game. We didn't use them again.
Yeah,
from the 1 yard line.
Aaron Jones went down with that ankle injury, and then he was in a walking boot leaving the stadium yesterday. So we haven't gotten a status update on him yet. But yeah, you don't run AJ Dillon at all in 4th and short. And I don't know. I've given up trying to figure out the play calling because it's crap to begin with. And you don't have, Rodgers doesn't have the same set of weapons. He doesn't have the same ability to just look at a matchup and go, okay, that's going to win, because nobody's winning consistently. So I don't know.
Well, that the play to Bakhtiari would have worked if he ain't leaning backwards and running to the right. He was open and he, short throws it. Is it the thumb?
I don't know.
Thumb that he's not.
That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, some want to make it out to be the thumb. I don't know if it's a legitimate excuse or if it's just making an excuse. That's a great question, Mike. I've never seen Aaron Rodgers throw so many wobbly balls in all my day. I'll tell you that.
He hits the guy in the helmet on the first one.
Yeah.
Then he throws it short. It's intercepted when he's got Bakhtiari wide open in the end zone. And like you said, I don't know, LaFleur, I think he said last night, the question is he riding the coattail of, Rodgers all these years? The play calling sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just don't know what to do. I'm sure you'll be up there Sunday night. I may give you a call.
All right, buddy. Be good. We'll see you up there. There you go. That's our buddy Mike in Whitewater, listening to the program. You know what? There's a couple of different breakdowns. Somebody just asked me, Beard just said, do you think Rodgers is just tanking the season? I can't imagine it. I know that Andy Herman, I think he just put it out a little while. I think I saw it fly by on Twitter, and I'm not positive, so pardon me for this, but he had posted a video. And you know what? There it is. I'll retweet it right now. He posted a video. Rodgers clearly looks at an open wide receiver and a hole in which to throw the ball, and then turns and throws it out of bounds. And it's like, you can't be – Aaron Rodgers is a smart guy. You can't be this stupid. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I don't have answers. I wish I had deep philosophical answers to be able to say, you know what, this is what's going on. I just can't put my finger on it. It's like there's just something innately wrong. It's either the quarterback has gone off the reservation to where he is no longer even on our property. He is just way, way, way out there and has this own little kingdom to himself, where he believes only the worthy are allowed in the inner sanctum. And if you're not part of the inner sanctum, you're never going to be respected or something. I have no idea. Or the head coach is trying to outthink himself, or the personnel was just, by both myself and everybody else, completely overestimated on this team. I don't know where to put it. I don't know where to go. I just retweeted it. Yeah, it's out there. Andy Herman of the Pack a Day podcast. It is a really good illustration. It is a video, a slowed down video of Rodgers looking at a wide receiver, looking at an open hole, wide open field. All he's got to do is wing it down the middle with a good pocket around him. He turns and then throws the ball out of bounds. And it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. Let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. Our buddy Matt Mitchell is going to be joining us. We're going to talk a little betting. We're going to come back. What not to bet on this coming weekend. I'll tell you that right damn now. Stay tuned. Hey, the Milwaukee Admirals back on the ice. And if you want to go see them, go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. That's MilwaukeeAdmirals.com, questing towards a Calder Cup later this year. And hopefully they get deeper into the postseason as they continue to win. Good stuff from our friends at the Milwaukee Admirals. Go to MilwaukeeAdmirals.com. Back with Matt Mitchell coming up after this.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers lose to the Lions 15-9 here at Ford Field. 1 week after firing his defensive backs coach, the Lions' Dan Campbell awarded the game ball to his defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn.
I'm proud of them. I just gave the game ball to AG. It's a hell of a job, man. Coaches his heart out. He put everything into it as he always does, and those guys responded. We knew we needed takeaways today. A minimum of 2 is what we talked about. Kirby Joseph came up big. Hutch got 1. We were in the fight, and that's all you can ask for. We're in it. We're in it.
The Packers had as many as 8 players have to leave the game with injuries. The most serious, Eric Stokes, getting his knee and ankle twisted in a scene too gruesome for Fox TV to replay. I spoke to Packers defensive back Rasul Douglas.
8 or 9 of your teammates had to leave the game with injury. Does that say something of the intensity of today's game?
I don't know if that is that or the turf. So it's probably a little bit of both. But everybody knew this was a game that we had to win, should have won, and injuries happen as a part of the game. Yeah, everybody was flying full speed. everybody was trying to get a win.
So the Lions improved to 2-6. The Packers fall to 3-6 and host the Cowboys, followed by the Titans on Thursday Night Football. Green Bay losing 5 in a row. What's next? Matt LaFleur.
We got 8 games left. We got to take it. We got the Dallas Cowboys coming into Lambeau, and certainly they're riding high right now. Playoff caliber team. They got stars all over the place. So we got to get back to work and try to come up with a better plan to put our guys in a better position and go out and battle in Lambeau.
Aaron Rodgers.
I've been counted out many times in my life, as have many of my teammates, and I hope we just dig deep and find a way.
From Detroit, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back to the program. Thanks to our friends at Wabam, W-A-B-A-M. Go to getwabam.com, getwabam.com. Cleaning supplies, industrial, janitorial, or maybe you're a car person, boat person, motorcycle person, whatever it happens to be. Go to G-E-T, getwabam.com. That is getwabam.com. We now go to our guy, Matt Mitchell. Old boy Uncle Mitch over on Twitter, Action Network. And, Matt, I will say, just in the smart of smarts, I took the Lions in that game yesterday against the Packers because the Packers can't get over 20 points pretty much all season long. And I hate to say, because I was hoping they would win, but I hate to say I was right. So that was one of the easy ones. What were some of the games yesterday that surprised people, I guess, or made money for some people in the long run?
Very surprising results in New York with the Bills losing outright to the New York Jets. Bills looked bored and a little disinterested, a little sloppy, and despite that, almost pulled the game out at the end. But that was certainly a surprising turn of events. And another enormous favorite that couldn't get on the board for most of the game, the Kansas City Chiefs in last night's affair with Tennessee. Malik Willis, the Liberty product, who was the quarterback for Tennessee, I believe he was something like 3 of 6 passing in the first half, and it didn't matter. They had an incredible game plan for Kansas City. That cover of 12.5 was never in doubt. They end up losing in overtime, but that was kind of a no-sweat cover for the underdog, and the trend that's happened all season continues. Scoring is down an enormous amount throughout the NFL. Games are 80 and 55, 59% to the under. They went 8-4 this week. Incredible lack of scoring across the league this year.
The Ravens on the road tonight. Ravens 1.5-point favorites. That seems almost odd for them going into New Orleans, and I don't think New Orleans sitting at 3-5 in the season. New Orleans not that good of a football team. Is that almost a no-brainer to take the Ravens to get a win on the road and win by 2 or more?
I gotta tell you, Bill, it looks like a trap and it smells like a trap. Feels very obvious, and under those circumstances, I would typically try to, zag when others are zigging, but I want the better coach, John Harbaugh. I want the better quarterback, Lamar Jackson. I want the better team in the first half. The Ravens are one of the best teams in the first half, historically under John Harbaugh of all time. It's probably going to be a lower scoring affair. Teams off extended rest, which is both of these teams, 60 and 37 to the under. So in a low-scoring affair, I think I also like Baltimore in a game like that with a quarterback who can make more things happen. I don't care if it's fishy. I think if you're going to watch this game and enjoy it, I don't know why you don't take Baltimore in this one.
One of the early ones coming out was the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. Now, granted, it's going to Germany, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers came out as 2-point favorites early on in this one. Is that still nobody really having a lot of faith in what the Seahawks are doing?
I took the Seahawks at 11-1 to make the playoffs, I think, after week 2. So I'm a huge Seahawks fan. Every time they win, I applaud here in my basement. But I think you're right. You're seeing a team that's the preseason perspective on this team. The expectation was truly one of the 5 worst teams in the league. They are on fire. They're gritty. Geno Smith, of all people, getting it done. Pete Carroll definitely winning the, is it Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson? Which one of these is a genius? Which one of these guys is special? Russell Wilson, Thelma and Louising off a cliff right now. Mm-hmm. And Pete Carroll has this team soaring. The Lions seems fishy, but Tampa can't score. They can't score at all. They look totally listless. I think Seattle is the team to back, and I think the number reflects that.
And the Cowboys coming off of a bye, probably sitting back in the Mike McCarthy Revenge Bowl coming up next weekend at Lambeau. Dallas comes in as a 5-point favorite. I almost think that's a little bit under what you would bet, the way the Packers can't score more than 17, 18 points per game, and the way the Cowboys, one, with Micah Parsons can get after the quarterback, and two, they can run the ball, and the Packers are terrible against the run. I get a sense that this game is going to be far wider a margin by the time it's all said and done than a 5-point spread.
Yeah, a lot of people thought the Bears would keep it close versus Dallas, and Dallas took them to the woodshed. Their defense is legitimate. And in the McCarthy Bowl, going into the year, you'd think, oh, this is a huge game for Green Bay. They'll get up for this. Lambeau will be wild and rocking. They are a corpse right now. And being able to get Dallas under a touchdown, it's either a stay away or Dallas, because I don't know how Green Bay can put enough on the board to stay in there.
We're going to talk more on Friday as the week goes on and we get more injury updates. But, man, good stuff as always, and we'll go over it all again on Friday afternoon, okay?
Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate it, Matt. There you go. Matt Mitchell, old boy Uncle Mitch over on Twitter. You can follow him on the Action Network. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. Go to pacebig.com. You have the opportunity to win one of 2 loaded Chevy Tahoes all month long. In the month of November, go to pacebig.com, pacebig.com for all the information down at Potawatomi Hotel Casino. 1 hour down, 3 yet to go. Stay tuned. We got a whole lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's all coming up. It's coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Make that 5 straight losses. Aaron Rodgers matched a career high with 3 interceptions and threw an incomplete pass on 4th down from the Detroit 17 in the final minutes, and the Lions would hold on to beat the Packers 15-9 at Ford Field. With the Packers now sitting 3-6 on the year, here's more from number 12, Aaron Rodgers.
I've been counted out many times in my life, as have many of my teammates, and I hope we just dig deep and find a way. We will truly be underdogs for many games moving forward. Hopefully we can embrace that. We have 2 games at home. We got to go win those 2 games in a week, and then this thing looks a little different.
Up next for the green and gold, they return home to Lambeau Field and will host the Dallas Cowboys this Sunday. To the college ranks, the Wisconsin Badgers have won back-to-back games for the first time this season with a 23-10 victory over the Maryland Terrapins at Camp Randall on Saturday. Braylon Allen would rush for 119 yards and a score, while Isaac Garenda would also have his first 100-yard rushing performance of his career, 114 yards on 12 carries for a touchdown in rainy conditions. The Badgers will now travel to Iowa this Saturday to face the Hawkeyes.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the 3rd largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
With their 108-94 victory over the Oklahoma City Thunder on Saturday, the Milwaukee Bucks have set a franchise record, starting the season 9-0. The Deer will look for 10 straight tonight in Atlanta against the Hawks for a 7:15 tip. And finally, Wisconsin basketball gets underway tonight. They host the South Dakota Coyotes for a 7:30 tip at the Kohl Center. For the Wisconsin Sports Zone Network, I'm Ebo.
It's Monday. I want to say good Monday to you, but it's really not. If you're a Packers fan, you woke up today. Like many Mondays, you wake up and it's the beginning of the work week and you're anxious to talk about what happened yesterday. And people tune. I saw all kinds of people today and last night saying, can't wait to listen to the show today to see what the reaction's going to be. And today was one of those days where I woke up, I was legitimately kind of depressed. Because, for two reasons. One, as a Packers fan, this season's over. They're not going to the postseason. There's no shot at the postseason. I don't want to hear people say, well, we're going to get off the mat. We're not mathematically eliminated. I mean, that's the green and gold glasses, and I'm right there with you. I would love to see them get a win on Sunday. I would love to see them beat Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys. I would love to see everything just fall into place. But it's like Sean Payton said at halftime yesterday. This is like the fifth get-right game. We've talked about the Packers trying to get right, and it's over. There is no get right. It's the offseason is going to be a reset, and then you got to figure out what you're going to do. There's a lot of stuff coming this offseason. I will say one thing. It starts with the quarterback. I don't want to hear this. I'm going to take some time to go away, and I'll be back, and I'll let you know prior to free agency. And stop. Stop. You're either in or you're not. Now I can see maybe at the end of the season from January to the beginning of February, okay, take some time, go away, relax. You deserve it. Regardless, if you're on a winning team or a non-winning team, regardless, it's a hard season. You get beat up. You're physically and mentally exhausted. You just kind of want to, get to the end of the season and go kind of rejuvenate the batteries, so to speak. But don't give us this, I'll let you know in March. No, stop. Because you can't kiss ass anymore. You're either all in or you're not. You got to have the respect of the young guys. I thought Howie Long talked about it yesterday. He said, look, if it's you can talk about coaching players up, but if you need them on the same page with you, then you need to be there. You need to be the one coaching them up. Don't leave it up to Cobb. Don't leave it up to anybody else. And the other thing he said, coach them up Monday through or Wednesday through Friday, and then on the field, but don't coach them up in the media and stop that. Don't respect it at all. And this is a guy that's not only a Hall of Famer, but that's got two sons that play in the NFL as well. There's a little bit of collaboration there as to what does and doesn't work inside an NFL locker room. Don't get me wrong. In this business, we love to hear Aaron Rodgers speak. But in the grand scheme of things, I would much rather see them win and win consistently and win legitimate football games heading to the postseason versus not. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. So you're either in or you're out. And then after that, it's like, we're going to talk to you about decisions and we're going to give you the courtesy to say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing, but you're not going to be the decision maker. We're not keeping Randall Cobb because you want a buddy. We're not keeping David Bakhtiari because you want a buddy. It's time to move on. Age, injuries, they happen. It's like Puxatawny Phil popping out of the hole. Time to cut bait, man. Anybody can make any amount of money to be injured. So I'm going to go with less money to be injured. And Bakhtiari has been a warrior. It's not downplaying his accomplishments or his attributes, because he has been an incredible left tackle in the National Football League. One of the best, no doubt. But that knee injury, however devastating it was, has just not allowed him to come back and be the guy he once was. And you're paying him to be not only the guy he once was, but beyond. And so money doesn't equal the play. You got to make a move. And Randall Cobb, God love him, he keeps coming back. He keeps, being the warrior. He keeps coming back to be the confidant for Aaron Rodgers. But every year it's going to be a 6 to 8 week process of some injury that's going to take him down, and you can't afford to do it anymore. It's time for young guys. It's time for veterans. It's time for free agents to come into this system and make this engine go. 877-867-1670. If you want to hit us up, feel free. Give us a shout. I'd love to hear from you today. Let's go back to the phone calls. Eric, listening to us in Green Bay on the mighty WDUZ. Eric, how you doing today, man? What's up?
I'm weirded out just like you, Bill. Thanks for taking my call.
Appreciate it.
It just has a very weird Twilight Zone vibe to it, this whole thing. And what's the most frustrating thing about it is, like you and everybody else, before the season started, looked at this team on paper after the success of the last 3 years and what they added, and they added in areas of need. And, we all thought that this team was going to be a juggernaut, and they keep getting worse and worse and worse. If they had played all their games like the game against the Bills, they'd have a much better record. But then here we are a week afterwards, and they are right back down to the level of the team they're playing against. And dude, I am going to blame that all on coaching. I mean, I know that those 2 passes that Rodgers threw yesterday on the goal line, it's like I've never seen it bounce so many balls off face masks. And that ball, Bakhtiari was, if there was just 2 of them there, that ball would have come up short. But here's what I think about the coaching. Okay, you hear a lot about play calling, and they say, well, if they got 6 to 8 slammed up in the box, what are you going to do? Run? Well, what are you going to do? Try to pass the ball through 12 to 16 guys? They didn't work a play out to the outside edge, somewhere where there's space. They got them throwing a bullet at head level through the line of scrimmage, which is a stacked box.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see how that's any greater chance of success. I mean, if they just handed the ball off to Dylan and let him run it around right, I'd give Dylan's chance to make it to the edge before that one linebacker pretty much 9 out of 10 times. I think he would have walked right into the end zone. There's so much stuff going on. And it's like, why are you doing that though, LaFleur? And what's frustrating me the most is I'm a huge Rodgers fan, man. I've been a Rodgers fan since he was at Cal. When he came to Cal, he put so many bad streaks and so many bad things to end at Cal. We were the doormat of the Pac-10, and he turned us into a national powerhouse. All right, this guy has deserved more. And what gets me is like, okay, they make all these acquisitions that seem like, well, looking great on paper. Oh, he's getting along with everybody in the front office. He's getting along with Goody great, the coach great. Everything's going great. And now we're at a point where, I hate to say it, but I don't think he's lost his skills, because last week in the Bills game, those 2 missile shots that went for touchdowns were beautiful, and he can still run. So it's not skills. I got to think it's the coaching, and the coaching is who keeps you on track and keeps you dedicated and keeps you. And we keep hearing the same thing out of LaFleur. If I hear one more time, well, you got to give them all the credit, or if you keep making mistakes and keep getting penalties and stuff, you're going to get licked by anybody in this league every single week. It's like Murphy when he hired Gutekunst, and then Gutekunst when he hired LaFleur. They hired teenagers to do the job of an adult. And this is like when you're in NFC championship game, or no, that wasn't the championship game, playoff game, you're inside the 10-yard line, you need 8 points, and you opt for a field goal when all Brady has to do is get a first down. Rookie mistake. All right. These rookie mistakes are costing Rodgers, and that's what hurts me, man. As a Rodgers fan, it's like, oh, for crying out loud, there's no reason why this team shouldn't be pounding everybody this year. They've got the talent. Something's going on there. I agree with you. Something's weird. It's just, you look at the team and there's a vibe about something's going on that nobody knows about, that we have to keep everybody from finding out about.
It is felt
weird.
Appreciate the phone call. It has felt like that pretty much since week 1. Week 1, I think, when we thought about going into Minneapolis and watching this team, you kind of wanted to see that they shook off the mistakes that they made last year going into the season. And the thought was, well, they got dump trucked in the first game against New Orleans last year, but they shook it off and they were the number 1 overall seed. So, no big deal. And we all thought, we're sitting there in that press box over in Minneapolis. Mike Clemens and I are sitting there talking to a few people, and it's like, no, this was bad. Something just wasn't right. And whether it's the first play of the year to Christian Watson that just went through his hands, that was the foreshadow to what the rest of the season was going to be, I don't know. But it just never had a feel like it was right. And as much as people don't like to hear it, because it is too simple of an excuse, but I thought it was something from the very beginning to say, Cobb can coach him up. I don't want to be here. I don't like double practice or joint practices. I don't want to play in the preseason. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When you keep stacking the negative, you eventually build a wall, because what you're doing in essence saying, I don't need the work. You do. I'm great. You're not. I'm on the pedestal. You're beneath me. You go do it. I've earned the right. And to a certain extent, he's right. But I think it all starts with off-season preparation, and it has just morphed into something very, very dysfunctional, for lack of a better term. And then news keeps getting worse. I mean, obviously, Rashawn Gary done for the year, tore the ACL. Romeo Doubs goes down with an injury. Aaron Jones goes down with an injury. It just, with everything, Christian Watson and, was in the concussion protocol again a couple of times in 2 back-to-back weeks. I mean, chances are he's not going to be available for this game coming up against the Dallas Cowboys. And, it's interesting because Zach Krause just put out Sammy Watkins against the Lions. He ran 39 routes. He has 1 catch for 9 yards, 2 drops, and 0.23 yards per route run, which is about as bad as you can possibly get. And on the last play, on the 4th down play, when leverage was inside, he should have gone outside. He fought through the leverage and went inside when Rodgers was clearly looking at the leverage inside, throwing to the ball outside, and it falls harmlessly to the turf. And he looks back at Rodgers like, what? And Rodgers will look at him like, I can't believe you even went that way. LaFleur the same. And the game ended. That was your big off-season acquisition. And some people are saying, Ray says and Mark says, and even Contessa says, why are we coming down so hard on Aaron Rodgers? He's been the constant. Well, he also makes $50 million a year, and he played one of his worst games ever. He played horribly. That's why. And you know what? Quite frankly, let's be honest. I'm not here to blow green and gold smoke up your ass, and he deserves it. Call out the people that deserve it. I don't have a problem with that. There's enough times where we've said, oh, my God, what a game he had. Look, he threw for 3 touchdowns. When, in essence, maybe it was Devontae Adams that went up and fought for the ball, took down a coverage man, and then ended up sprinting to the end zone on a 20-yard out and turned it into a 60-yard touchdown. But we give Rodgers credit for throwing the touchdown pass, right? And it happened. And we understand that. You understand that going in. Quarterbacks get a lot of the credit and a lot of the heat. But I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It is what it is, man. This is a bad football team, and it stinks from the head down. He is the leader, supposedly, of this football team. So he's going to, as the leader, he's going to get him a lion's share of the blame. I have never seen him throw footballs off of helmets. It's not like somebody got a paw up in the air, like somebody jumped a foot high and then stuck a hand way up. So in essence, a 9-foot throw. You know what I mean? Where he just didn't get it out of the reach of the paw. He hit the dude standing there in the face. The pass to Bakhtiari had Aiden Hutchinson not even been there, would have fallen to the turf. It was a terrible throw. So I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. 877-867-1670. Let's get back to the phone calls real quick. Let's go to Mike listening to us in Cudahy. Mike, how you doing, man? What's going on, man?
So much for group therapy on a manic Monday.
Right.
You know something, Bill? I'll tell you that game yesterday, and you've heard this from other people probably, that was an abortion. I mean, you have a team, the lowly Lions. Now, I don't want to take anything away from them. Any team can beat any team on any given day, but they got rid of their number one weapon. They got rid of a tight end, their backfield coach, I believe, cornerbacks coach. And we go in there and flounder like we did. I know you have a lot of injuries on this team. We have a lot of untimely penalties that, we shut ourselves in the foot with that. But you can't look. I called you last week. We said that there were 3 seasons now where they've won 13 games. Okay, 3 seasons, and we failed to make a Super Bowl. What's going to change any any different now? I mean, how different is it going to be? Let's say we were on our way to 13 wins this season. We're doing the same thing over and over again. It's insanity. We're expecting different results. I think, Bill, I hate to say it, I think the window has shut. I bleed green and gold, and I try to be positive, but realistically, we are in a rebuild, and I think we're stuck. I hate to say it, we're stuck with Rodgers, but we better either develop Love or get another bona fide quarterback that we can build on, because this team, it's just decimated with there's nothing else we can do but play out the rest of the season. You know what the best thing that could happen right now? We get a high draft pick and we get a good quarterback.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. So if the Packers get a high draft pick, let's just say they end the season with 4 wins. Okay. God comes down and they give them one more win. And then with 4 wins in the season, one of the worst teams in the National Football League, they get maybe the 3rd, 4th, or 5th pick. First of all, that'd be a great big up yours to Pittsburgh, because they went figuring they'd get a higher draft pick with the Bears than with the Packers. So I'd feel good about that. But then let me ask you this. Do you get a top 5 wide receiver, or do you go after yet another quarterback to compete with Jordan Love?
You know something? You know you can't have your cake and eat it too, but I would do whatever it took to get the best quarterback prospect and the best wide receiver prospect in the draft. Bill, how many of the wide receivers that are playing right now today as rookies on these other teams that we passed up that are doing unbelievable on these other teams? Now, we're talking the draft. We're not talking free agency.
The draft, if there is a top 5 quarterback sitting there, I would have to look really hard at getting him. But if there is a surefire wideout that is going to come in and like a Justin Jefferson type and light my team up, I might have to go with the weapon first.
Let me ask you this, Bill. This past draft, how many wide receivers did we pass up that could be playing and helping Rodgers out right now that we passed up on this past draft that are playing really well as rookie receivers?
Oh, my God. Probably 10.
So you know what? It's part of it's scouting, Bill. Part of it is this decision-making up front. I don't know who's doing the scouting and who's doing the picking when it comes to draft day, but I'll tell you what, man, they messed up. They missed the boat a few years in a row. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm. No, they have. I appreciate the phone call. They have had their own issues when it comes to drafting talent. I mean, Chris Olave's played pretty good for the Saints, but the Packers were not going to get him. That's for sure. Obviously, the Packers trading out of the first round. Some of the guys that we were hoping for, like a Treylon Burks out of Arkansas, we talked about. I know that Jahan Dotson was a guy. He's not like lighting the world on fire. But when you start talking about, wide receivers that you could have taken, other players you could have taken. Now, there's not a whole lot of people that are lighting the world on fire. Let me say that. Okay. Mechie out of Alabama, he's doing okay. Taquan Thornton out of Baylor is another guy. George Pickens with the Steelers now out of Georgia. Alec Pierce, the wide receiver out of Cincinnati, went to Indianapolis. He's got off to a decent start. But put it this way, there's a lot of guys that are playing, and Christian Watson isn't. Christian Watson, you could pretty much pick any receiver at this point, right? Pick any receiver at this point and say he's been better than Watson because Watson hasn't been able to stay healthy. So in the grand scheme of things, all of them, because Watson hasn't really done anything. 877-867-1670, hit us up. Hey, our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin reminding you, 0 interest, 0 money down, nothing for 24 months. That's our friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, and they continue to be the leader when it comes to overall value for your home. For the money spent and the value you're going to get back out of your home if you decide to sell it, it's amazing. Economical factor, huge. I talk about it all the time. And here comes the cold weather. This next coming weekend, the highs are going to be like 38. I don't know if you've been looking at the forecast. So now is when your windows and doors are going to get tested. And if you haven't listened to the advice and called Pella, maybe you should do it now before the really, really, really cold stuff hits. Go to our friends at PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com, or call them 855-PELLA-WI, because you can order it now. They'll custom measure, custom build, manufacture, assemble, install, all of that. Great warranty, adds value to your home, adds beauty to your home, but it makes your home more economical. And that's the number one factor in all of this. That's what went into my decision to go ahead and get the new Pella windows and doors done here in my home. PellaWI.com. That is PellaWI.com.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Cool weather, brisk winds, and a hot deal. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Is your home ready for winter weather? Don't wait. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years. When it's cold outside, thanks to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, you'll be warm and toasty inside. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can be installed in as little as a day, with little to no disruption to your family or your home. Plus, you'll get expert advice from our Pella specialists, professional installation by Pella's certified installers, and the excellent service our customers have come to expect. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin has products and warranty offers you won't find anywhere else. Don't wait for the heating bills to start piling up. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Expires 11/30/2022. Certain exclusions and restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Sunset Grill in Pewaukee. Hopefully you can stop out. It's the Bill Michaels Huddle. 6 to 8 this Wednesday night. And we're going to be there watching the sunset. And, man, trying to figure out some kind of a silver lining in what is a otherwise really tough season right now for the Green Bay Packers. So we are hoping that it's going to be better, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't see it getting any better anytime soon. I don't know about you. Just my take on it. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. By the way, Romeo Dubs, high ankle sprain. So there you go. Which means he's going to be out for a while. Christian Watson, we know, concussion protocol. Aaron Jones left in a walking boot yesterday. Rashawn Gary, ACL, done for the season. So it's not going to be a great week by any stretch. And then going into a game in which the Dallas Cowboys are coming off of a bye, the only thing you can hope for is that maybe they're rusty. I don't know what else to hope for. Maybe they're rusty. Let's get to our buddy L listening to us in Philadelphia. L, welcome to the program, man. What's going on? Ooh, let's put L back on hold. That's a bad signal. Ooh, that's rough. Let's go to Chris listening to us in Oshkosh. Chris, how you doing today, man? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bill? Hey, man. You've been really on point today. I mean, you must have got a really good night's sleep last night. You were hitting on a whole bunch of really important points earlier. And but the one thing I wanted to kind of call in. There was a caller, maybe 3-4 back. He was trying to say Aaron, he didn't think it was trying or didn't care anymore. I guess I just think it's. I want to say that's a little reckless. I'm not going to sit here and let anyone say that on the radio. I just don't think that that's true at all. I mean, I'm listening to his press conferences. Obviously, like sometimes I'd like him to take more responsibility. It sounded like he did say he played poorly, which is great. And of course, like what you're saying, it really comes down to that off season. I mean, it kind of drove me nuts this year that he wasn't in there. I mean, you just want another day with ayahuasca. I don't know, but it didn't make me happy at all.
Right.
But the one thing I'll say that is a few times when we're talking receiver, because I do think that now the Samurai Toure has actually shown himself to be a deep threat. I do believe he truly can be a deep threat for this team. And I think Watson is too, but man, Crystal Watson, man, that guy it kills me because I see him do a play and he's fast and he's big and he's really good. And all of a sudden he gets to the point of contact and he's hurt. And it's crazy. I mean, This season is just crazy like that. And then like Dobbs yesterday, right? Awesome catch. Great play. Obviously, you think about how much of that offensive game plan probably had him involved. Same with going back to Crystal a few weeks ago when he got hurt again on that play. They had 5 plays drawn up for him. I know some people want to sit and blame coaching, and I do think that it's just a big problem when a guy that you literally game plan for, your coaching went into. You spent a lot of time making the offense plan around a few guys that are going to do some really good, fun plays, and then they're out literally on the first play of the game. I think we got to back up a little bit. We can't attack LaFleur quite so hard. I really think that there would have been some things that we might have seen that we just never got the chance to. So I'm just trying to take a step back. I'm trying to take my 8-year-old daughter to this weekend's game. I've already got, I had the tickets lined up, way family ticket kind of thing. And I'm a little scared. I won't lie. It's not a great feeling when you know that you don't got Gary coming to help you. And man, there's just those injuries this week were just brutal. I mean, I really think they beat the Lions if they only lose 3 guys, but 8 guys, that was just too much to overcome. And it's just sort of becoming that kind of a season where it just kind of keeps piling on when you least expect it. And I think you got to look at the exact reasons why, when these things do happen, that, you know what, that legitimately did make a difference on each occasion in each game. So anyway, that's my deal.
All right. Appreciate it, pal. When you say you got to kind of lay off LaFleur yesterday. Okay. Let's just take that for example. But we have seen things like undisciplined play, players going the wrong way consistently this season. Frustrations, I get it. It begins to build when you start losing because you know you're better and you get frustrated. It's like running in quicksand. But there's a lot of things coaches need to do. You know, you coach your best when you're facing the most adversity. And right now, LaFleur, like many in this organization, looks kind of like a deer in the headlights. You know, I know he's not stupid, but there was a lot of things that we saw for a long time. You know, you're not utilizing a run game when you should have. Your offensive play calling looked inept at times. Your defense, we could all see, was wrong. I mean, it's not like it's not like coverage and the basics were wrong. It's like, look, when it's 3rd and 6 and you're lining up your outside back at 10 yards off and backpedaling on the snap, that's just dumb. I mean, that's like, do you not even understand math type of dumb? So I can lay the blame damn near everywhere. I can pretty much blame everybody at this point. There's nobody that is completely deflective of blame. You know? Maybe a trainer. Trainers, you know, they're not a blame. Guys get hurt. You know? But it's just I'm nobody is free of blame for the way this season has gone so horribly wrong. So horribly wrong. 877-867-1670. Hit us up. One thing I did hear yesterday, and I thought this was really, and this was brought to my attention, and I thought I had to go back and listen to it, and I heard it again this morning, and I thought, okay, that's a little bit, I don't think he meant it the way it sounded. But Rodgers, during his presser yesterday, said, you know, talked about losing and then losing to that team. And boy, I'll tell you what, there were people that are Lions fans that were pissed. It's like just taking a cheap shot. And listen to what Rodgers had to say after the game about the loss and about the way they lost and such. And you tell me, here's what he had to say.
Play comes in, we get executed. And, you know, there's a lot of things that go into that. But, you know, we had a couple chances for sure. Can't lose a game like that against that team, though. So that's going to hurt for a while.
All right, you think about that for a minute. We're going to come back and talk about it. You can't lose a game like that to that team. That's a very honest moment. But, man, if Lions fans were pissed. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up next.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Wisconsin isn't snobby, snooty, or pretentious. It's Midwestern charm at its finest. And that's exactly what Forgotten Fire Winery in Peshtigo is all about. Fun in a bottle without the attitude. You can find their full wine and cider lineup in their tasting room or in liquor and grocery stores throughout the state. The winery is a great place to get away for wine and cider tastings, great live music, and private events all year long. Remember, any time is a great time for Forgotten Fire wines and ciders. Wisconsin wine made from Wisconsin people.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Play comes in, we got to execute it. And, you know, there's a lot of things that go into that. But, you know, we had a couple chances, for sure. Can't lose a game like that against that team, though. So that's going to hurt for a while.
Yes, it is. Aaron Rodgers making some Lion. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm sitting here going, oh, my God, the Lions fans are mad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that he looked at it as there's no way we can lose that game to that team. No way. But when you think about it, had Rodgers completed 2 passes that were relatively easy passes in the red zone, it's a whole different narrative.
Embarrassing.
You know? It is what we call a green and gold Monday. I would be bereft of information if I did not pass along that even without Chris Middleton and Pat Connaughton, the Bucs are still crushing it. Bucs are undefeated so far this season. It's very early. I understand that. There's a lot to be excited for. No doubt. No doubt. We're going to talk a lot of Bucs basketball. You got college basketball. Speaking of basketball, college basketball tipping off tonight as well. So excited about that. But today is the post-mortem on what was a horrific game, one of the absolute lowlights in Detroit. And now you're trying to regroup and figure out where to go from here. 877-867-1670. Let's get back to the phone calls. Let's go back to L, listening to us in Philadelphia. L, how you doing, man?
Do I sound better this time?
There you go. Now you're good.
Okay. Hey, man, what's going on?
We're wallowing in it today. I guess misery is just spread it everywhere.
Yeah, I had to put a post up, like a PSA, on all my social media for people to ask me questions about the Packers and talk about how they're messing up their tickets and so on and so forth. I don't want to hear any of that crap. I don't want to hear none of it.
Yeah.
So I had to put a statement up about that. But I just never seen a team that just makes the dumbest mistakes that has the worst luck all at the same time, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just can't. It's like a snowball. Like, one thing happens and it just spirals and just gets out of control and just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, the play calling has just been bad. And Rodgers, I don't know what he was on yesterday. Just played horrible. Sammy Watkins, why is he still even on the team? Like, I just don't. He's just a waste of a roster spot at this point.
Just terrible.
And then the front office, they sit up here, and every year it's the same thing. Oh, we went after this guy, but we didn't offer this. Oh, well, we tried to get this dude, but this guy didn't want to come here. They never make the proper, adjustments with authorize. Like, they just go up there and say, hey, we giving up this pick, and that's it. Like, they can't make no type of adjustments or anything. But just about the game yesterday, this is what I'm talking about, the luck part. So he makes a throw, and Samari Torre catches the pass. Great pass, great catch. However, he fumbles the ball, and it goes out of bounds. So now it's controversy about the catch and whether it's a fumble recovered in bounds and all of that. So this is the coaching part. Now, that's within 2 minutes. So you don't have an opportunity to, basically challenge it or anything, or not, neither does the Lions. So you rush and get back to the line of scrimmage. Instead of running the ball, this is the 1st and 10 because you got the first down, you do a dumb pass, you throw it out of bounds. So you waste a whole down, and you got 2 timeouts. Then the other plays, you don't even think about running the ball not one time. And then the times that you ran the ball, you run it side by side or, east-west with Dylan. I know Aaron Jones was hurt, and you brought Colin Hill, and he got 7 yards the first run he ran. But you just abandoned the run totally. When you got Sammy Watkins out there that don't know what the audibles are, where to go or whatever, and you end up throwing him the ball on 4th down, and then the other receiver just flat out can't get open.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I was just so mad. I was ready to break my TV yesterday just watching that nonsense. But I blame McCarthy. I blame LaFleur on that coach as far as with the play calling down the stretch. I mean, come on, man. Like, take your time. You have the time. Like, you have timeouts. And I just don't understand how every time you get ready to run a play, it's always right before the play clock ends. Like, you got to hurry up and rush and try to do it. I don't understand, but thanks, bye. Thanks for having me out.
Appreciate it, man. I get it. You can pretty much throw a dart at it. And I don't want to gloss over any one of the points that you made, but you're right in a lot of sense on all of them. I just, Complicated Fella says, are we going to write the Packer 2022 team obituaries for the team's playoff chances this year? It's over. They're in the casket, in the ground. The dirt is on them. The daisies have come up, and all of us are now sitting around with if it's a New Orleans style funeral, we're doing a little drinking, a little imbibing, talking about maybe a couple of the moments that were kind of cool, but it's dead. It's over. And again, I'm going to go back to, I hate to say that because it's not good for my business. It's not good for any business right now that relies upon the Green Bay Packers, whether it's sports talk radio, it's bars and such in the area or throughout the state of Wisconsin or Packer Nation anywhere and everywhere. There's a lot of faithful Packers fans. I'm not saying don't support them. You support them. That's great. That's what fandom is. Hell yes. Am I going to stop watching? No. Am I going to stop caring? No. I'm still going to come in with passion and vigor and excitement and disappointment, and it's all going to happen. But it's all heading towards a very pivotal offseason. That's where my focus is now. Because everything from here on out is an audition for what's to come. Earlier somebody had said, well, it's about the rebuild. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. And I'll tell you why when we come back. Hey, our friends at Quick Trip reminding you that still here's a glimmer of hope, and it's from Quick Trip. They're proud supporters of the Packers. And you can go into a Quick Trip like I did today. By the way, I have to say this, and I know I'm jinxing myself. I'm not going to win the Powerball, but I did go in and redeem my tickets today, and I have been a Powerball winner. Today I collected a little bit of money. It was $8. I'd like you to respect my privacy. We're going to take some time away as a family and figure out what we're going to do with our winnings. And once we hear from our legal team, we will advise the rest of you as to what exactly is going to go on with the rest of my life. But, just want to let you know, Quick Trip did inform me today that I won $8. So I'm pretty fired up about winning the Powerball. That made me happy. My pants fit a little snugger this morning. But if you go into Quick Trip, you are get some gas, use your Quick Rewards card. You're automatically registered for the Packers opening drive contest where you can get $10 per yard garnered by this Packers team. So you better pray that the offense plays at least well in the opening drive if your name is called. So you're good to go there. That's from our friends over there at Quick Trip, and Quick Trip's giving all kinds of stuff away, including just using the Quick Rewards, adding up the points, and then eventually you get one of those good sandwiches. Oh, that's good stuff when you go to the counter. Stop in and check out our friends from Quick Trip.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket, this is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Here they come, the holidays. What to get the special people in your life? Good food? Better yet, great meat. Go to ScholzingFamilyBeef.com. That's ScholzingFamilyBeef.com. One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine, a place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers lose to the Lions 15-9 in a game filled with hard-hitting, penalties, and injuries for both teams. After the game in the visitors' locker room, Rashawn Gary and receiver Romeo Doubs, both on crutches. Aaron Jones' ankle injury was in a walking boot. Rookie Christian Watson suffered a second concussion in a week. Green Bay's only touchdown came late in the third quarter on a 20-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers to Alan Lazard.
It was kind of cool since I drew up the play, kind of in the huddle and everything, and I'm surprised 12 even called it. But so it was great and very encouraging for me and I think the offense to finally get in the end zone and to be able to cap off that drive the way we were able to do it.
With the win, Detroit snapped a 5-game losing streak. Lions quarterback Jared Goff spoke to reporters.
I'm so proud of these guys, man. It's so hard, and you guys don't make it any easier, certainly. But it's so hard to continue to do that, and we just do. We'll never lay down, and I know there's teams across this league that will, and we're not one of them.
So now the Packers have lost 5 in a row, mostly to teams they were favored to beat. Matt LaFleur asked if any of his players are showing a lack of effort.
Well, I would be concerned if I saw guys not competing out there. I didn't see that. I just saw us not taking advantage of certain opportunities and making way too many critical mistakes. When you do that, I don't care who you're playing in this league, you're going to get beat.
Aaron Rodgers under pressure most of the day, threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the red zone. I asked him if at 38 years old he should still be running for first downs outside the pocket.
Well, I mean, I played shitty, but I never gave up. Obviously, I don't want to lead us in rushing. I knew I was going to have to make some plays with my legs, and that's really moving forward. I'm going to have to keep doing things like that. But no, I feel like we never gave up. I mean, we moved the ball well in the first half, and I threw a couple picks in the end zone.
From Detroit, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Jim Irsay, the longtime owner of the Indianapolis Colts, we know he's had his issues in the past, right? Sure we do. And we've known that there are times that the Indianapolis Colts are a little off their rocker. Frank Reich, their head coach, has been fired. He is out today. That announcement was made just about the time we were going on the air. And now this. The Colts have announced that the longtime center, Super Bowl champion, former center for the Green Bay Packers, Jeff Saturday, is their new head coach.
I don't know what that means.
Just like, why don't you just call Peyton Manning? See if Peyton Manning wanted to be the head coach. Just like, what? The last time I saw Jeff Saturday was on the ESPN program this past weekend, talking about the matchups. And in addition to that, on Tuesdays, now who is going to throw a pancake on the floor? That's what I want to know. Between him and Swagoo, who's throwing the pancakes on the floor now? Jeff Saturday, absent from Get Up this morning. And I'm like, where's Jeff Saturday at? Well, it's because we found out he's the new head coach of the Colts. Just, wow. That's a little bizarre, isn't it? That'd be like the Packers firing Matt LaFleur today. And, Frankie Winters has been named the new head coach of the Green Bay Packers. What? Oh my God. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he comes in and he does a great job. He's motivational. Who knows? But I'm like, wow. Last time we saw him activated, he was dancing around, smashing pancakes on a floor last week on Get Up. Jim Irsay, he has had his own drug addictions and abuses along the way. I would assume he's being tested. I don't mean to make light of that. I'm sorry. But, woof. All right. So there's your other breaking news of the day. By the way, Romeo Doubs, high ankle sprain, going to miss numerous games. Numerous games. We got 2 more hours yet to go. We're going to get to your phone calls. Got a lot coming up. Mike Clemens, final hour of the program. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have lost 5 straight games for the first time since Aaron Rodgers' first year as a starting quarterback. That's after a 15-9 loss to Detroit yesterday to the Lions team that had just 1 win coming in. Offense struggled again, especially in the red zone. Rodgers threw a pair of interceptions in the end zone, had another in Lions territory. Rodgers has looked miserable at times throughout this season, and he was asked after the game yesterday whether he regretted his decision to return now that the team is 3-6.
Frustration and miserability are 2 different emotions. So when I decided to come back, it was all in, and I don't make decisions and then hindsight 2020, have regrets about big decisions like that. So I was all in, and this is a lot of life lessons for sure this year, but luckily it's not over. There's still a lot of games left. We'll be counted out probably by many, and we'll see how we respond.
Responding going to be difficult as injuries continue to mount. ESPN reported this morning that outside linebacker Rashawn Gary going to miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. NFL Network also reported that wide receiver Romeo Doubs going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Wide receiver Christian Watson, quarterback Eric Stokes also left with injuries. Green Bay going to welcome in the Cowboys this Sunday. Turning to the Badgers, they're 2-point favorites in their matchup with Iowa. Wisconsin's won 5 of the last 6 meetings between the two. Kick is at 2:30.
Want to save even more at Fleet Farm? Well, now you can with Fleet Rewards. It's free to sign up, and there's no credit card required. Using Fleet Rewards is easy. Earn points every time you shop. Plus, get exclusive member offers, birthday and anniversary perks, free tire rotations, and more. Download the Fleet Farm app or create an account at fleetfarm.com/rewards to start earning points today. Fleet Farm, proudly serving the Midwest since 1955.
Well, the Bucs are in Atlanta to face the Hawks tonight as they look to stay unbeaten, while the Badgers are going to be opening their season against South Dakota at the Colts Center. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
No! If you're a Packers fan, you're sticking your head out of the window right now. Damn straight. Welcome to the program. Good to have you on board. The day after an ugly Packers loss, Don says, isn't there a Rooney Rule in the NFL? There is, but not for interim head coach. They will begin the process of searching for a head coach, but not for an interim head coach. They just grab somebody and stick them in there, and that's what Jim Irsay did. If you're just tuning us in, Jeff Saturday, coming off the set of ESPN's Get Up, he has been told he is the next head coach, the interim head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. Oh my goodness! And if I'm Jeff Saturday, why do you want that job? Seriously, why do you want that job? I mean, you got a bad team. You are beloved as a Super Bowl winner, as a guy that is Ring of Honor, all that kind of stuff in Indianapolis. Why would you come back and say, yeah, I'll do this? I mean, it's strictly a PR move. Why would you do that? but he is. It's just Jeff Saturday smashing pancakes all over the joint. There you go. He's the next head coach. 877-867-1670. If you want to find us, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Again, 877-867-1670. Ben Kenney is back in the driver's seat producing the program. Ben, how you doing, man?
Hey, Bill. Good morning. Good afternoon. Whatever it is.
Are you doing okay?
That's okay is a relative term.
Yeah.
I see. I kind of stepped into a forest fire here, so
yeah.
I didn't bring any water.
Okay, that's okay. You can pee it out.
No, that was it was a tough weekend. It's been a long day. I'm seeing double a bit.
Now, were you in Philly this morning?
Yes, I woke up at 3:00 Eastern time, 2:00 Central time to wing my way back here.
And so you then went to the airport, and then you flew into Milwaukee, or you flew into Madison?
Flew to Chicago, layover in Chicago, in that dump of an airport.
I hate that
still remains the worst physical establishment in this country, O'Hare Airport. Had a long layover there, sent some emails, listened to the beginning of the show, and then arrived about an hour ago.
Okay.
I'm seeing double. I've totally forgotten which lines are full with callers, and it's very clear. My brain is just like my eyes are seeing two things at once.
Just locked
It's
down,
brutal.
huh? Yeah.
And yeah, tough series.
Get home, sleep, and then you're gonna be good to go tomorrow after maybe 12, 14
I don't know
hours
if
of
I'm
shut-eye.
tired or depressed. You know,
Probably both. Probably. I mean, look, the Packers got spanked. Your Eagles are still undefeated, so that was good. Your professional soccer team lost in the finals, so I don't know if you get too damns about that. I know Ebo was talking about that this morning, and then obviously the loss to the Houston Astros. The only positive out of that was that Dusty Baker gets his win, but beyond that, I can't stand the Astros organization. I was rooting for the Phillies. Just didn't happen. I was going to text you, but I thought, you know what? I bet you're being inundated with, oh my God, are you okay texts? Or everybody just left you alone. We were waiting for the splash from underneath one of the bridges in the Philadelphia area as to whether or not that was actually going to happen or not. So,
Zach Heilprin texted me and wanted to check in on the picks we make on our show. He went 5-0 last week. I went 0-5.
Oh,
and at the end, he said, but I'm not going to text you about it as he is texting me because I know that the game's not going well.
Right.
And I told him to politely, I said some profanities back in the text message. He proceeded to tweet it. So
did he? Okay. Nice.
Misery I was in. So,
hey, I was.
Yeah, that's where
I did think of you this weekend. I don't know if you've noticed, but I officially joined TikTok this weekend.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Actually, I did notice. Grant Bill sent me one of your videos.
Yeah. It was, which one was it? The Christmas video? Or was it the video in the bar?
I forget. I was really drunk.
Yeah. But yeah, I've officially, I started doing social media classes and I was doing some things and they said, one of the bigger platforms out there now, you got to join TikTok. So I did. I've connected it. I don't know where my stuff is going anymore. Everything's interconnected and interwoven. So TikTok is now official. So you got Bill Michaels over on TikTok and on YouTube with the YouTube channel with the Bill Michaels Show, and on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, and Facebook, and then you got Instagram, and yeah, it's everywhere. So anyway, I was thinking of you though. I couldn't think of anything insightful to post. So I just figured, Kristen smoking a hookah and a bunch of girls singing Christmas music might be the way to go to start things off very softly. So that was it. Nobody wants to see me.
You're taking social media classes?
I did. What I did was, because I am always intrigued by reach and intrigued by more ways to reach more people, and what doesn't work and all that kind of stuff, what people like and they don't like, and just certain things and how to use certain things properly. Because you don't want the one thing you don't want to do is do something just to do it and look stupid. So I thought, I'm going to learn more about it. So I've enrolled in one of the local colleges here, and they have a whole social media class. So yeah, you take a few via Zoom. So I started that last week. I've had it in the plan for a while, but I started that last week. So
hey, the man, the myth, the legend, Bill Michaels.
So just to kind of,
I'm excited.
Although I will say this, I I don't. Part of the problem with a lot of the social media platforms, if you've never used it before and you have no idea how to use it properly, most of the classes assume that you're on them and you know how to use them. It's just what content to post. And so I feel like the kid back in 8th grade. I was always a straight A student. And it's a long, boring story, but always a straight A student. I got a teacher in 8th grade who was just always just assume you knew everything and moved on really fast. And I got lost in math. I have to admit that I got lost in math. So my freshman year of high school, I had to take summer school because I was so far behind because of my math teacher who I just could not connect with, and had this sense of, instead of, if you asked a question to really kind of understand what it is she was trying to tell you, she would basically belittle you. So I had great grades, all except for math. I was a straight A student except for math, and I ended up getting, I think, a C or a D in math that year. And then I was so far behind when I got to high school that it took me, I couldn't catch up. So I went to summer school, and I ended up getting caught up on, kind of some of the methodology of math. I feel like that again, where I'm behind because a lot of the people that are taking the class are 30 or younger. And then there's me. So they assume that all of these younger people know exactly what it is they're talking about. They've already done it. All they're looking for is how to do certain things on certain levels better. Me, I'm looking how to use it, kind of like the owner's manual, so to speak. So it's a little, you gotta catch up. You got to catch up. Nick says, just don't dance on TikTok. No, I'm not doing a lot of dancing on TikTok. I'm not going to do that. So anyway, there you go. Packers lose, ugly fashion, 15-9. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense anyway. 15-9. What an ugly, ugly game against a team that is the worst scoring defense in all of football. You mustered 9. 2 red zone picks, 1 inside the 25. So in essence, 3 picks down near the end zone. Absolutely awful performance from Aaron Rodgers. Terrible performance from the wide receiving core. The defense didn't play bad. I'm not going to sit here and blast Joe Barry like everybody was doing yesterday. Why? They gave up 15 points against an offense that could actually score. Why? Doesn't matter. But, is what it is. 877-867-1670, 877-867-1670. Dwayne says, can we get back to talking about sports? Dwayne, we've been talking sports for over 2 hours. Relax. All right? What you need to do, this is what you do, Dwayne. Lean forward, put your hands on the desk, okay? Put your hands on the desk, kind of lean forward. You're standing up now. Lean forward and then relax your butt. There you go. It'll drop your underwear a little bit. You won't be eating those shorts, okay? You're good to go. 877-867-1670. We're going to hear from Matt LaFleur and a bunch coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned. Let's get back to the phone calls. Talk to Bob listening to us in River Falls. Bob, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Thanks for taking my calls. Haven't spoke to you in a while here. I'm the guy that's been just yipping about the coaching here in Green Bay for quite a while here, and I think the same thing still applies here. But I heard earlier a caller talk about the draft and who we should pick and so on position-wise. But until we do something about the coaching here, these young guys we bring on board, we're not going to get the full potential out of them anyway. So we still got the problem of coaching in Green Bay. At least that's my opinion. But my real point here, Bill, I'd like you to comment on, I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you're Mark Murphy and the rest of this season plays out like it looks like it's going to play out, and I realize that things could turn around, but if it plays out like the last 5 games, what do you do as Mark Murphy? Because to me, it squarely sits on his shoulders right now.
Right. That's a great question. Now this would take into consideration that I don't have brand new renewed contracts for both my general manager and my head coach. if I look at this team and I say undisciplined, same mistakes, and I believe guys have begun to turn a deaf ear towards coaching, I think I make a change. I think I would start there. If I'm Mark Murphy, I probably sit down. I'm not gonna usurp the authority of my general manager. So I'm going to talk to Brian Gutekunst, and I'm going to give him a straight in the eye look, and I'm going to say, you answer me one question, yes or no. Do you believe Matt LaFleur still has this team? I don't want to hear about most of it, a majority of it. Maybe he's got this guy or that guy, but doesn't have that. I want to know, do you believe he still has this team? Because if he does, okay, let's move forward. Let's find about better personnel. If you think he doesn't, then I make a move. And you've got a guy that the guys love, that they played for in Rich Bisaccia. You got him on staff already. So you could always move him into an overseer role, which he did extremely well at when he was with Las Vegas. You could bring him in. You could go after Sean Payton. You can go after numerous other guys. But that's the way I would look at it and say, let's start there. Okay, if you believe you got the guy now, what do we believe to be our weakest position? Let's build up from there. And if our weakest position is wide receiver, then my mandate is I want to sign not one, but maybe two really good veterans. We're going to look at the growth of Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. We're going to have a high draft choice. And if you still have Rodgers in the fold, this is not about 3 years down the road. This is about getting another wideout right now. And I would also ask about, quite frankly, because you really screwed the pooch when you brought in Jordan Love. Because you threw him on an island where he has a no-win situation, because if he's good, he's not seeing the field. If he's not good, then you've got an albatross around your neck that basically you threw away when you could have picked up maybe a wide receiver and made this team better. You've got all these different things, and you got to make a decision. So if he's the real deal, then you go ahead and keep him and you get another wide receiver. If he's not, now you got to make a decision to go after another quarterback. Do you trade him away? Yep. I mean, what do you got to do? I think this is a really pivotal offseason for this franchise in many different ways right now.
Well, they need leadership. There's no question they need leadership, and because they do not have it right now.
Right. No, I something has to give. You can't blow everything up, because then you're saying, okay, everything sucks and we're starting over. And I don't think as an organization they're that far away. I mean, it may seem like it, but look at all they did was lose an offseason, lose in the playoffs last year, and they lost Devontae Adams, a couple of other wide receivers, and Billy Turner. You mean to tell me that those 5 guys were holding this whole house of cards up? I don't believe that. So it might just be a managerial change. It might be a management change, and then go from there. Now, I believe that there's talent here. I just believe it's, for whatever reason, falling on deaf ears at this point.
Well, appreciate it, Bill. Thanks a lot. You do a great job. Really appreciate all you do.
Thanks, pal. Talk to you soon. He drops off. You get on board. 877-867-1670. I mean, that's where I start. Right? And if I'm missing a boat here, you let me know. But you can't blow everything up. You can't just get rid of everybody. You can't just get rid of Rodgers. You can't just, you can't just do all of that. You have to be smart about it. Because I don't think that while last year they were a really good team, but they were the number 1 overall team. They were the number 1 overall seed going into the postseason. How do they go from being the number 1 overall to the worst? It doesn't make sense. Something else is innately wrong. That's why I don't believe it's necessarily this whole rebuild of talent. I think it's a reboot of something, and only they know behind closed doors. But here's the thing. There's one thing you have to do. You have to do if you are Mark Murphy. One thing you have to do. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. And I just don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they'll do it. But one thing you have to do. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
This is a lot of life lessons for sure this year, but luckily it's not over. There's still a lot of games left. We'll be counted out, probably by many, and we'll see how we respond.
Welcome back. Good to have you. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over at Newmail Medical, treating guys with ED all over the state of Wisconsin, well beyond the borders as well. And they have a 98% success rate. Call them. 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. How about if you're floating around out there and you're kind of tired, you're moody, you're sluggish, you can't figure out why, putting on weight. If you're over the age of 30, could be low T. They can help you out with that. Then again, there could be the all-in-one weight loss program. And that could be beneficial, especially this time of year if you're cleaning up the kids' trick-or-treating candy. Or maybe you're getting into the cookie and pie season. Oh, boy. Here you go. You don't want to start 2023, way behind the 8 ball, so to speak. So give them a call, 414-455-4451. That's 414-455-4451. Let's get back to it. Let's go to our buddy Larry. Larry, welcome to the program, man. What's happening?
Hi, Bill. Hey, you do a great job. I think you should have a national sports talk show.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Look forward to your commentary every day, and especially Monday mornings after the Packers wins or losses. I wanted to say about Aaron Rodgers that he every year likes to talk about how he owns the Bears. I think he should change that to how he still owns Matt LaFleur and Gutekunst, because I think he's got them wrapped around his little finger. They can't do anything without worrying about what Aaron Rodgers thinks.
It's over the last year and a half, I would agree with that. They certainly, I don't know about what he thinks, but I think they give him the respect of, we are going to talk to you and let you know what's going on, or at least what we're thinking, and maybe take some of his input. But this offseason, it's not necessarily about what he wants. It's about getting this team better and hoping if he does come back, which I would assume he would, if he does come back, then my assumption is that you got to cut off the dead wood and you got to get better in the right here and the right now. There is no tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so often I get frustrated when when Rodgers is outplayed by rookie quarterbacks or second or third string quarterbacks. And I want to ask you about what is Rodgers' playoff record? Isn't it like sub 500?
Yeah, I believe it is. I don't have it sitting here at my fingertips, but I can find it for you for sure.
But last year, at the
he's 12 and
playoff
10.
against
He's 12 and 10 in the playoffs in the postseason.
Not so good for Mr. Hero or Mr. Whatever.
Yeah.
All of the awards that he gets, but I think that your comment about Bisaccia is great. Who did he coach last year when the
Las
head
Vegas
coach got fired?
Las Vegas. That was when Gruden got canned because of the emails and such through the Washington Commanders investigation, and he got busted in that.
I think he did a very good job with that team, and I read that the players loved him out there. I think he knows what it takes to be a good football player. He knows what he's looking for, and I think he'd make a great head coach for the Packers.
Yeah, Bisaccia has a way of communicating and with guys, and they really just enjoy him and appreciate him. So yeah, if you're going to go in that direction, I mean, he's built in. He's right here, so I would not discourage that or be upset if they went in that direction. But who knows? If indeed they do that, then I would give Bisaccia a shot. If they don't, then I think other coaching changes need to be made because the offensive line has clearly gone down once Stenovich became the offensive coordinator. There's been obviously with Butkus there, it just hasn't materialized for whatever reason. The offensive line has been a problem. Then again, they've had injuries too that they've been coming back from, and who knows, maybe Elton Jenkins will be better coming into next season after getting a year past the ACL injury and such, and maybe Runyon will be another year better, and Josh Nyman playing right tackle, or maybe who knows, maybe he goes back to left tackle and he becomes the left tackle.
Yeah.
Zach Tom doesn't pan out. But I just think it starts in the trenches. You build from there, but you got to find more weapons on the outside for Rodgers.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, Bill. All
right, buddy. Appreciate it. He drops off. You get on board. Yeah. Rodgers overall. Now, when they say what is his record, the team's record under Aaron Rodgers is 12 and 10. Okay. Now let's think about this for a minute. All right. Shall we? They beat Pittsburgh in the Super Bowl. The loss to the New York Giants and Eli Manning, they just got their asses handed to them. The next year, Rodgers throws up a 104.9 quarterback rating. They knock off the Minnesota Vikings. Then they ultimately lost to San Francisco in an ugly game. But remember, San Francisco, they were able to run the ball almost at will. The very next year, same thing happened. Rodgers didn't play poorly, but the defense was terrible. They're just a bad team in that case. Then they ended up beating Dallas. Remember that. They they lose that year to Seattle, which I firmly believe in the NFC Championship game. And Rodgers had a terrible game. Rodgers played awful. He had a 55.8 quarterback rating in that ball game. It was terrible. But I still believe they win that game. For Bostic, if they win that game, they go on to win a Super Bowl. I just believe they were the better team. I really do. Next year against Washington, Rodgers throws up a 93.5 quarterback rating. They get the win. Then they face Arizona in the divisional round. They lose there. He had a bad game. The next year, here come the Giants yet again, but they get the win. They're at home. They get the Giants. Rodgers has a spectacular performance, throws for 362 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just walks away just magnanimous. Dallas, they ended up beating Dallas in 2017. Remember that? They beat Dallas. He had that bad wheel. He had that calf muscle that was torn. He played well in Dallas. Throws that pass on the sidelines. Jared Cook hanging his toes right there on the edge. Mason Crosby comes in, kicks the field goal, splits the upright, and off they go to Atlanta. They find themselves in an NFC Championship game they had no business being in. They were not a good team. Their defense was not good, but yet still they got there. Then they go to Seattle. They get a win against the Seattle. Actually, Seattle comes to Lambeau Field. 2020, they get a win, and they lose to San Francisco. Then we all know what happened. Last year, the Rams, 2 years ago, the Rams come into town. They beat the Rams, and they lose to Tampa Bay. Rodgers still threw up a 101.6, but he also had a costly pick in that ball game as well. And then obviously last year, it just all didn't materialize. But overall, he's 12-10, and he's done it at times with bad defenses, and they had no business being as far as they got, but yet he got them there. He's got a 100.1 quarterback rating, and overall, he's been really pretty solid. 45 touchdowns, only 13 interceptions in the postseason. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lay all the postseason stuff at Rodgers' feet prior to the last couple of years. No, I'm not going to go there. Now, when I had talked about what would happen and what would Mark Murphy need to do, and one thing that he has to do going into this offseason, I talked about that going into the commercial break. And the one thing, going back to the caller prior, the one thing Mark Murphy has to do, and I think this is where we've all kind of been erroneous of this at times, is be honest. You got to be honest with yourself. And you got to look Brian Gutekunst in the eye, Russ Ball in the eye, Matt LaFleur in the eye. You got to be honest. This whole thing about talent evaluation, you got to be honest. Because when you and I look at this thing, we want to look at it through green and gold colored glasses, right? We talk about the good. This is going to be okay. No big deal. They're 7-0 without Devontae Adams. Without Devontae, he's selfish. He was a selfish player. Rodgers always locked on him. That means Rodgers is going to get better. Rodgers is going to be a better quarterback. The guys around him are going to be better. Oh my God, he can still move. He can still run. The offensive line is going to give him time. The innovation of Matt LaFleur in the offense and the Shanahan offense, it's all going to come to fruition. He's going to run it the way it's supposed to be run. The play calling is going to be better. With Bisaccia, special teams are going to be great, and this and this and this. And it's all crap. It's a lie. It should be here in a level of mediocrity or just above it. And instead we're placing it here as if there's this air of arrogance of just no big deal. It's green and gold, man. They're going to roll the helmets out. No problem. And I think this year you got to look at this almost pessimistically and be honest. You got to look at it at Matt LaFleur and say, can you coach Aaron Rodgers? And Aaron, are you going to sit down and be the guy that we expect you to be? Or are you, I don't want to practice. I don't want to play in preseason. I don't like joint practices. Let Cobby coach him up. Are you the guy that wants to give us the excuses as to why not to do anything because you're the smartest guy in the room? Because if you are, go be smart somewhere else. Go get your fire somewhere else because you've put yourself on a pedestal so high that everybody else around you feels so far beneath you and so much less because of you calling them out in the media and pointing out all the problems and all the issues and pointing the finger in so many different directions instead of just shutting your mouth and saying, I need to play better. I need to help these guys better. I need to lower myself. I need to help bring them up. I need to do everything and anything I could possibly do within myself as a football player, as a competitor, as a guy that wants to win a championship, as a guy that took all the money and raised people up around me to say, we're going to be on this level. We're going to do it together because we're only as good as our weakest link. And if our weakest link is going right and I need him to go left, that's on me because I have to help him better. I have to help him be on the same page with me. Mark Murphy has to look Aaron Rodgers in the eye and say, is it going to be you, the all-in football player, or is it going to be you, the guy walking around in all the different outfits, trying to be cool on his social media? Are you going to be the guy that's taking all the money, going and blowing out your colon on a beach somewhere? Because if you want to go do all that, but not on my time. You're either in it or you're not. Are you committed or not? And don't give me a half-ass commitment. You're either in it or you're not. Because we're going to go all in. We're going to go all in for you because we know the window is closing. So we want to do everything we can to win a championship right now. Because if you're not in it, then don't expect us to be. Okay, you get the answer you want. Okay, then you move on. You look at Matt LaFleur. Can you coach him? Can you coach the rest of this team? Why are there so many mental mistakes on your watch? That's coaching, friend. That's on you. So you be honest with me and tell me if you still got the balls to do this, because if you don't, I'll find somebody who will. Then you go out and you talk to Brian Gutekunst and you say, why didn't you pull the trigger on some of these deals? What are you valuing? Let's go through your track record. Let's look at your draft. Okay? Hang on to that third-round draft choice like grim death, because you know why? We can't get enough Jay Sternbergers in here. Oh, my God. Slap my ass with a grilled cheese sandwich if you ever hit on a third-round draft choice again. Let me know, because that'll be the first. You kind of suck, too. You got to be honest. How far behind the 8 ball are you? Right? That's what you have to ask. And if you start to answer and look at these guys and go, no, mediocrity, can't get it done. Here's all the excuses why not to, rather than why I will succeed, then I need to start cleaning house. You know what? Mark Murphy needs to say, before I get out of here, one thing I am going to do is try to put the train back on the tracks. You, go collect some unemployment. Time to go. Time to cut bait. I'd rather pay a lot of guys to go away and start with guys that really want to play, really want to listen, really want to coach, really want to be defined as football players. Because once you start making money, money changes people. It's the ultimate team sport. And when you have a hugely lopsided balance in pay, it becomes problematic. So you need to find out. You need to find out who's got the chops to kind of turn this thing around. And if you don't, then you need to start making changes. But the one thing Mark Murphy has to do is start with himself and work his way down and be honest. Don't give me all the well, if attributes. Don't give me the last year of Ken Maka, what if? If everybody hits to the back of their baseball card, if everybody plays well, if everybody exceeds, well, then we're going to be good. No. I'm playing poker and I want to hedge my bets. I want a hand that has me a full house, a royal flush, a straight flush. I want something that's going to tell me I am going to be successful now. Now, if Rodgers says I'm not all in, if he wants to go cleanse a colon 47 times and feel a million fingers in his rectum or whatever he was feeling on that day on the beach, whatever that happens to be, if he wants to go do that, go do that. Now we're going to start the rebuild. Jordan, have at it. The $50 million man, he took his cape, he's gone. He's flying around on top of a pedestal somewhere. Now we're going to get back to what football is. We're not going to have a ton of money this first year. We're going to have to do it with some draft choices and start building up. Is Matt LaFleur the guy? Yes or no? But you got to be honest. No! You got to be honest. Because this, you get 2 years of this. If you take next year and you don't have guys and you have a bunch of dead money salary, I think fans will go, okay, give me a year. Let's see what development is. Okay, let's see what guys have. But if you do this same thing and just run it back and it's the same way next year, oh, my God. You talk about losing a fan base. Ronald says, stop it. Management's afraid of offending the fans. No. You know what? This year, yes. From here on out, you can't. You can't. More of the Bill Michaels Show coming up right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Gifts. We got to get gifts. The soup makers, the grillers, the kids, the breakfast connoisseurs, even the pets in our lives. Wait. Don't panic. There's one place to go. SchulzeFamilyBeef.com. They have gift boxes for all of those special people in your life. From little Bobby and Susie to Grillin' Gramps to your loving pups, there's a gift box category just waiting for you to click on it. The Schulze family has been spreading holiday cheer for 3 generations. And to get yours, go to Schulze, that's SCHOLZE, FamilyBeef.com.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
out to my buddy Fritz. Maybe he'll be the new sheriff out there in La Crosse, or good dude. He just hit me up over on Instagram. So, Fritzy, best of luck to you tomorrow at the polls, man. Good stuff. But when I'm out that way, I stopped into that, which that was the reason some people were asking me what hat I was wearing again today. It's the Briar Patch hat, the cigar shop out there in La Crosse. I stopped there last week when I was out there for the Quick Trip visit. We did a sales seminar and such, but also when I'm out that way, we've had a beverage and a meal and such over there at our friends Buzzard Billy's, the Starlight Lounge. And I got an email a little earlier from Jan, said, "Hey, did you make it to Buzzard Billy's?" I did not. I apologize, but I didn't. I was going to stop and see Heather, the manager, but I didn't get a chance to get over there and say hi. I got so busy and my time was booked. So I know it's an excuse. I get it. You're right. But I was ready to get home by the time I got done with it. It was a long day. I didn't get out that way until 1 a.m. Got up at 5:50. And then did the all-day tour at Quick Trip, gave a seminar after that, stopped over to the Briar Patch, and then I still had to get back home and drive back to Milwaukee. So I was a little bit beat. So I didn't get over to Buzzard Billy's, but I will get back over that way. But I did get a chance to see Fritzy and talk to him and wish him the best of luck. Such an incredibly good guy. And when you sit down and talk to him, he just genuinely gives a damn about protecting people. So it's an unsolicited endorsement, so to speak, but just a good guy. I just love picking his brain and listening to him talk about, the political side of things versus actually being a sheriff and protecting people and kind of common sense stuff. So I just enjoyed that. So I wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out. Joe says, "Love the rant." He says, "Do you care if I put that on a T-shirt?" Slap me in the ass with a grilled cheese sandwich. No, go ahead. Feel free, take it, use it. Like I said, the next third round draft choice that hits, then I can go ahead and have that done to me, maybe in public. Who knows? There you have it. 877-867-1670. Let's get back to the phone calls. Talk to our buddy Chris, listening to us here in Brookfield. Chris, how you doing, man? What's up?
Hey, Bill, I don't think you took it far enough, my friend. I think it starts at the top. I think they need to fire Murphy. The board of directors need to take a look at and evaluate him. You ain't going to tell me when they first hired Gutekunst after Ted left that it was Gutekunst who said, "Okay, we're going to make you the highest paid quarterback in the league again, even after coming off of 3 years of sub-performance." Sure, they went 13-3 under Matt the first year, but he still played like crap. Even though he has whatever his rating is terrible. Number two, Aaron Rodgers is continuously for the last 2 or 3 years locked on to receivers and doesn't look. And you go against Tampa Bay. Okay, he throws the ball how many times at Devontae Adams when he had other receivers wide open? Number two, he's afraid to get under center and listen to the coach go play action because the coach wants him to be under center more, have more motion, and run out of play action. Who's the guy running it? Is it LaFleur or is it 1265 telling Rodgers you're God and no matter what the coach says, you're still going to do what you're doing? Because yesterday he had players open, he missed. He's overthrowing the ball. I don't care if he's got a thumb. If he's got a thumb injury, then the coach should be taking him off.
Right.
Pull him out of there. I'm just so frustrated. The offense is supposed to be all we heard is motion, get in and out of the huddle and go. We're still sitting there going like, how come they didn't blow the whistle? Because Rodgers is having the ball snapped at 0 seconds. All the defense is going to do is key up on you because we know you're not going to snap the ball to 1 second. I mean, they've been hurt in the trenches, but they proved against Buffalo they can run the ball. What did they have, 20 attempts yesterday against whatever? No, Rodgers said, "Oh, these guys are the worst defensive backfield in the league. I'm going to throw. And that's what he did. And he looked like a chicken out there. He's terrible.
They had yesterday a lot of different options for Aaron Rodgers to be able to do certain things. And I appreciate the phone call. And you're right. They threw the ball a lot when they could have ran it. They did do a good job at stuff in the run. It wasn't horrific. They did. Detroit did do a pretty good job at stuff in the run.
Slap my ass with a grilled cheese sandwich.
But when, look, you go back to the year that, the 6-9 season, 6-9-1, 2018, Mike McCarthy gets fired. Aaron Rodgers wasn't a great season by any stretch of the imagination. He had a quarterback rating of 97.6. We all know this. We've been through this. We've talked about it. He had 25 touchdowns, only a couple of picks. The ratio itself was really good. He protected the football, but they were not a good football team. But basically the same people. The following season, they go 13-3 under Matt LaFleur, and he pretty much flourishes. Although the quarterback rating was less, remember, 26 touchdowns and 4 picks. It wasn't a great year. That's when they thought, well, maybe we're going to pick up another quarterback. But they went 13-3, which it didn't make sense to me to go get another quarterback. And then after that, he had a quarterback rating of 121.5, a 111.9 last season, 48 touchdowns and 5 picks 2 years ago, 37-4. He's got 14 touchdowns and 7 picks. He hasn't had 7 or more picks since 2016 when they went 10-6. The last time he had more was the year prior when they went 10-6. He had 31 touchdowns and 8 picks. The only time he's ever had double-digit picks in his life, oddly enough, was the year they won the Super Bowl. 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. 28 touchdowns, 11 picks. That was it. 877-867-1670. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show to come.
This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
One of the worst things that you can hear, you have cancer. The worst is when you hear the words, your child has cancer. When a child is diagnosed with cancer, it changes their world. Sometimes they can't even do things that they really love, like playing soccer, riding a bike, going to prom, attending school. Children with cancer spend a lot of time away from others. I'm in the hospital, treatments, tired, nauseous, and they feel isolated. That's where Special Spaces Wisconsin steps in. They provide these children with a special space where they can not only sleep, but they can play, they can heal, they can spend time away from the challenges of their illness. It's a customized bedroom designed just for them. How about a princess castle or a pirate ship or a sports-themed bedroom? They transform that child's existing bedroom into a place that only he or she can imagine. A place for them just to be a kid. This effort is done with teams of dedicated volunteers and sponsors, just like our friends from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and all the community partners. If you'd like to find out more or to donate, go to specialspaces.org. That is specialspaces.org.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers lose to the Lions 15-9 here at Ford Field. 1 week after firing his defensive backs coach, the Lions' Dan Campbell awarded the game ball to his defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn.
I'm proud of them. I just gave the game ball to AG. It's a hell of a job, man. Coaches his heart out. He put everything into it as he always does, and those guys responded. We knew we needed takeaways today. A minimum of 2 is what we talked about. Kirby Joseph came up big. Hutch got 1. We were in the fight, and that's all you can ask for. We're in it. We're in it.
The Packers had as many as 8 players have to leave the game with injuries. The most serious, Eric Stokes, getting his knee and ankle twisted in a scene too gruesome for Fox TV to replay. I spoke to Packers defensive back Rasul Douglas.
8 or 9 of your teammates had to leave the game with injury. Does that say something of the intensity of today's game?
I don't know if that is that or the turf. So it's probably a little bit of both. But everybody knew this was a game that we had to win, should have won, and injuries happen as a part of the game. Yeah, everybody was flying full speed. Everybody was trying to get a win.
So the Lions improved to 2-6. The Packers fall to 3-6 and host the Cowboys, followed by the Titans on Thursday Night Football. Green Bay losing 5 in a row. What's next? Matt LaFleur.
We got 8 games left. We got to take it. We got the Dallas Cowboys coming into Lambeau, and certainly they're riding high right now. Playoff caliber team. They got stars all over the place. So we got to get back to work and try to come up with a better plan to put our guys in a better position and go out and battle in Lambeau.
Aaron Rodgers.
I've been counted out many times in my life, as have many of my teammates, and I hope we just dig deep and find a way.
From Detroit, I'm Mike Clemens on the Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show continues on. Mike Clemens, by the way, coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for that. He's going to join us at the top. You know why? Because at the bottom of this next hour, Mike McCarthy is going to speak, and Mike Clemens is going to be a part of that conversation. Excuse me. So
let's just state the facts. I'm a highly successful NFL head coach.
You damn straight. So Mike is going to be on that call. So we're going to get Mike Clemens today a little bit earlier than normal. So we're going to have Mike from about a minute or so from now until we get to the bottom of the hour. So hang in there for that. So that's coming up in the next hour. We'll get back into the phone calls and such as well. We'll also hear after the bottom of the hour from some of the sound from yesterday. Don't forget, you can get a hold of us in many different facets, and we'll get back to the phone calls too, 877-867-1670. You can find us over on Twitter at Bill_Michaels, Facebook, YouTube. Now it's on Instagram. It's on Twitch. It's on TikTok. It's on all that stuff. And you can also get a hold of the program on many of the different podcast formats as well. Google Podcast, Apple, iTunes, and you can also find us on Spotify. So plenty of different ways to find us there. By the way, Mark wants to know, does it matter that Lil Wayne declares the Packers season over? It really doesn't. By the way, Lil Wayne, he wears a white fur coat with a Packers jersey. Just for those of you that are into fashion. So that's coming up too. So, this portion of the program brought to you by our friends at Forgotten Fire Winery. And I'm sure many of you indulged a little bit too much yesterday after trying to make that memory of that Packers game go away. You might have done it with some of the wines from Forgotten Fire Winery. Go to ForgottenFireWinery.com. That is ForgottenFireWinery.com. Stay tuned. We got more of the Bill Michaels Show. Mike Clemens up next.
It's not over. There's still a lot of games left. We'll be counted out probably by many, and we'll see how we respond.
Responding going to be difficult as injuries continue to mount. ESPN reported this morning that outside linebacker Rashawn Gary going to miss the rest of the season with a torn ACL. NFL Network also reported that wide receiver Romeo Doubs going to miss the next 4 to 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Wide receiver Christian Watson, quarterback Eric Stokes also left with injuries. Green Bay going to welcome in the Cowboys this Sunday. Turning to the Badgers, they're 2-point favorites in their matchup with Iowa. Wisconsin's won 5 of the last 6 meetings between the two. Kick is at 2:30.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
All business owners want the same thing, to make their business succeed. At Rural Mutual, they help that happen. As the 3rd largest writer of commercial business in Wisconsin, they take the time to learn your business so they can properly protect you. Call your local agent today or visit ruralmutual.com.
Rural Mutual Insurance, keeping Wisconsin strong.
Well, the Bucs are in Atlanta to face the Hawks tonight as they look to stay unbeaten, while the Badgers are going to be opening their season against South Dakota at the Colts Center. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heil.
Welcome back. Final hour of the Bill Michaels Show on this Monday, this manic Monday. Good to have you on board. We continue on and bring in now our guy, Mike Clemens, as we try to put a cap on what went down yesterday. And now to look forward to the rest of the week, Rashawn Gary done, ACL torn. They've got some other injuries to deal with. And Mike Clemens now joining us on the hotline. Michael, how you doing, man?
Okay. You know, I couldn't help but as I'm trying to watch that game inside Ford Field, the crowd just got into it by the end of the first quarter, and it just grew in the intensity. And it got to be a loud place, man. Probably the loudest I've ever heard Ford Field. And I couldn't help but during the game, finally I just had to pull off a sheet of paper off the notebook, and I had to keep just a running list of the injuries of the Packers because they were losing like 2 players a quarter. I even joked, I think, on Twitter that, you know, the injury cart ran out of electricity. They had to recharge it because they were making so many trips back and forth the Packers locker room. And the Lions were losing players too. But, you know, Dan Campbell, I mean, here this guy a week ago today loses a close one to Miami. He fires one of the, you know, a good guy and Aubrey Pleasant, a former Badgers safety who's his defensive back coach. Their defense has been pathetic, ranked 32nd in the league. And then they got Aaron Rodgers coming in. And then the TJ Hawkinson trade, and people are just like, well, what are you doing with this team? We know you're in the middle of a rebuild, but why do you give up a 3rd-round pick from just a couple of years ago? You would think that would be one of the foundations for when you get a quarterback. And here their defense holds Aaron Rodgers and the Packers to 9 points, regardless of how much Aaron Rodgers helped out the Lions with that. And Dan Campbell was asked about, you know, here a week later, your defense puts on this kind, and the tenacity of those guys, like Samori Toure with that catch in the 4th down, and then Akura and that other defender, just they wouldn't stop. They swatting at the ball, trying to create a takeover, trying to save that game in front of the Lions fans. And here was Dan Campbell after the win.
Look, I'm excited because we won, man, and I feel like it was great to see, man, our defense taking some heat, and to see them step up against a worthy opponent, you know, is and a good quarterback. It's good, it's real good, and I'm proud of those guys because it's easy to just, you know, get frustrated and go in the tank, but they came back. And they believed in themselves. They believed in the coaches were going to get them prepared and give them the best game plan to have success. And so they just came back to work. I felt like we had a good plan for him and just how we wanted to play. Look, you got to disguise. I mean, you have to. And he'll take it all the way down to the wire to get a beat on what you're doing, you know. And then if you have an opportunity, you got to make the most of it. And we did that today. You know, it's one of those where if you just hang in there and – there again, man, if you're going to get beat, it's because you're in phase and a guy made one hell of a play on you. It's just you know, you just happen to get beat one-on-one, but it's not the crucial errors. Was that your guy or my guy? That you know, you eliminate that. And those guys they stepped up and they made it happen today.
Mike, the rash of injuries. I don't know if it was turf related or not. I mean, every time we have an injury on anybody that's got a turf field, it's always blamed on the field. But regardless, a lot of bad luck yesterday for the Packers.
You mentioned Rashawn Gary. Saw him on crutches getting on the team bus. Running back Aaron Jones had a boot on his his left ankle, I think, and crutches. Now, I've heard that an MRI says it wasn't severe for Aaron Jones, so that's the only other we got there. You got Christian Watson with, second concussion in a week. But these other, the Eric Stokes thing. I mean, the Fox TV crew said that was so gruesome they were going to play the replay of the ankle and knee injury. John Runyon with a knee. You and I have talked to former players. Josh Sitton used to talk about this on the air with a show that I was on regularly about how bad the carpet is, and that's what they call it, is Ford Field. So I asked for Sewell Douglas about the situation in the visitors' locker room.
8 or 9 of your teammates had to leave the game with injury. Does that say something to the intensity of today's game?
I don't know if that is that or the turf. So it's probably a little bit of both. But everybody knew this was a game that we had to win, should have won. But, so everybody's just out there just trying to get their all. And injuries happen as a part of the game. Everyone gets injured. So,
okay, guys were flying around.
Yeah, everybody was flying full speed. Everybody was trying to get a win. Yeah.
What's your emotion right now?
I don't even know. But it's like 5 in a row, so I don't know how to feel right now.
Is it confusing?
2 more for him. He's got to hit the show. I wouldn't say confusing. I think we're all just upset. We're so upset. I know I am.
Guys, I don't think they really know where to go. This is an unfamiliar position for the Green Bay Packers. And you look at a team that came in, Mike, from a 13-win season. They bolstered their defense. They bring back Jair, a healthy Jair. They sign him. It seems like everything's trending in the right direction defensively, and all they did was lose a couple of wide receivers and 1 backup lineman, and they go from 13 wins to this mess.
They gave Rasul Douglas a contract. They gave Jair a contract that made him the highest paid defensive back. A lot of swagger to Jair. Had a nice pick. Also had a boneheaded 15-yard penalty against him in the game. But to me, since day one of training camp, I thought the best player on defense was Rashawn Gary. And I talked about that regularly during training camp about how his speed off the snap had found a new gear, and how well he looked in shape, and how well I thought he was playing in games. And so there he is on that turf, and he's running to one side and then turning and making a cut back, and all of a sudden he's holding his knee. As you say, torn ACL. That's going to be a year. We've dealt with all these other ACLs, and a lot of them, by the way, happen to be in these turf fields. Just ask Elton Jenkins about that. So in the last February, I asked Brian Gutekunst when we talked to him at Combine, if Za'Darius doesn't come back from this back injury, well, what are you thinking? He goes, well, we got Rashawn, we got Preston, and we like Jonathan Garvin. Well, 2 weeks ago, Jonathan Garvin was a healthy scratch. I mean, he's fallen off the radar. But, Kingsley and Agbari, they call him JJ. We talked to JJ about it. He's been coming on and getting more snaps and getting some productivity. So this is going to be your guy, probably opposite Preston Smith, to try and get some pressure on Dak Prescott next Sunday. We talked to the rookie after the game.
I feel like we played pretty good, but as always, definitely plays that we obviously want back, definitely plays that we could have made, that could have changed the game. So definitely, I feel like we did pretty good. It was a team that was a pretty explosive offense throughout the season so far, and we held them to 15 points. So, I mean, obviously sucks. One of them games where it's the fourth quarter game that the Lions came up, the winners victorious. Just go harder, man. Obviously, I'm not making a big enough difference to help the team win, but it's ultimately about winning and just ultimately contributing to a winning effort.
I get it. The defense didn't play terrible. This is not one where people can scream about Joe Barry's defense, because they did have a pretty good offense. They did hold them to only 15 points, and normally you would win a lot of games holding teams to only 15 points. But it's You go from what they were last year with the all of the perfection heading into the postseason against San Francisco to where they can't get out of their own way right now.
You know, Bill, somebody was saying to me, okay, you're going into this thing with a 4-game losing streak. Pick a slump buster in the NFL. Pick any city. Who would you like to play this weekend to get out of the dumps? And you say, well, we're here. The 1-6 Lions.
Right.
This is the place. This is the place to turn it around. So you talk to Kenny Clark, who's still playing at a high level. And it's like, dude, and he, Quay Walker, the rookie, had to call the defense because Devondre Campbell was out this week with a knee injury. And so you go to Kenny, how do you go from winning 13 games a year, 3 years in a row to this?
We can't shoot ourselves in the foot. Can't have penalties and critical situations. And at the end of the day, we got to make more plays. You got to give them credit. They made plays, and we didn't. Say one more time.
How did Quay do today?
He did a great job. He did a great job commanding the huddle. He made plays, and happy about his progression.
To talk about what happened after Eric left and how that changed your secondary.
All right, after Eric left, their plan was to run the ball. So I think we was doing a pretty good job. We had a lot of movement, a lot of blitzes, in this weekend. I think we did a really good job. Eric going down, it was tough. It was tough, but guys just got to step up.
Mike, I would assume that really across the board, everybody's feeling bad. But like I said, the defense didn't lose that ball game. That offense just was unbelievably inept. The emotions coming out of the offensive side. I know Rodgers, TJ Lang, I think, during the broadcast of the Detroit game on their radio side said this is the most angry and upset he's ever seen Aaron Rodgers. I got a feeling that everybody on that side of the football is feeling pretty bad and probably wondering what the hell's gone so wrong.
Yeah, and me particular, in the very last drive, it's like, okay, if Green Bay can score a touchdown here and Mason kicks the field goal, you get this exciting 1-point win. And they had the ball 3rd and 5 from about their own 45, and the referees are walking around, and there's a stoppage of play, and it's taking the Packers completely out of rhythm. And Rodgers is looking at the ref like, what are we doing here? What's going on? And they're waiting and waiting and waiting. And I understand from the TV version, the play clock was off again. We had this in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago where, the clock you're seeing on TV is going down to, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2. And the Packers were getting breaks on this, which was driving some of the Lions fans crazy. And just this total confusion made really no sense. When you listen to some of these players yesterday, Bill, in the locker room, and you're having these conversations with them, you hear these long pauses in their thoughts. And that's because it's not they're being careful. They don't know what to say at this point. Like you talked to Bobby Tunyon, who was open over the middle, and for some reasons Rodgers Rodgers has got this bad thumb, but it's low and away. And the kid, Kirby Joseph ends up getting his second pick of the day. You talk to Tunyon about how are you guys right now? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? What do you feel like right now?
Disappointed because we know the type of team we are and the type of players we have and so on. But just kind of what I was talking to the media about this week is just kind of that next play, next game mentality. That's really all you can do. Like I said, we got great players in here. We have enough. I think that it's just a little bit of just kind of putting it all together and just a little bit of bad luck right now. And it just takes one win to kind of, change that around. I trust who we have in this locker room and the players that we have to come out of this and just see, what we're really about.
Mike, it's funny. I mentioned this earlier today, and I noted it yesterday. During halftime, Sean Payton had said, as they started to talk about, this defense and the Packers can get right here in the second half. And Sean Payton said, wait a minute. This is one of the worst ranked defenses in the National Football League. And every week we talk about the Packers, this being a get right game. If they don't get right here, there is no more getting right. And they only put up 9 points against one of the worst defenses in the National Football League. You got to now scratch your head and go, what the hell are we doing?
especially those last 4 plays on offense, and you're now within the 20. Actually, to me, the first down mark was about the 4, and I'm thinking, like, just get another first down. But they ran 4 successive plays to take a shot to get in the end zone, even though there was enough time on the clock. And all of them, fell. All of them were incomplete. It was just, and you could see the Lions players now were starting to get a little gassed. And I know that Romeo Doubs is off the field and Christian Watson's off the field, and they probably have a bunch of plays for them and all that. So I asked Tunyon, how did you still only come away only scoring 9 points today against Detroit?
Execution and just kind of finishing plays, and then we get penalties and we're behind the sticks. Good plays are taken off the board, so it's just been unfortunate lately. I don't think there's any one thing or person or blaming or what it is. I think it's just sometimes just bad luck.
They had a lot of that, no doubt. Veterans, Rodgers upset, other guys upset. And you take a guy like, say, Mercedes Lewis, a guy that's been there, done that, seen it all. And, he's also got to be going, what the hell? I came back for this?
And we asked Mercedes, what was said today? Would LaFleur say something? Did any of the players stand up and say something about this? Because remember, a week ago, I think it was Preston Smith maybe, and then Dallin Levitt, the special teams guy, got up on a rant and said, after losing to the Commanders or a couple of weeks ago, these different rants. And so Mercedes said, no, nobody said anything. It's just pretty much quiet in here. And so we asked him, why didn't anybody speak up amongst players after this loss?
This league is unforgiving. You know what I mean? It'll humble you quick. And the margin for error is small. You can make enough plays, and that's the result.
Mercedes, this season, can you still turn it around, and what do you have to do that?
I mean, we still got some games left. It's a playoff mentality from here. Can't afford to keep dropping games, so it's going to keep chipping away at it. So you can do. It's the NFL at the end of the day, Sometimes things are going to go your way. Sometimes it's not. It's not much you can say about a game like this. We all understand, especially when you know how much we put into this. So,
yeah, it's rather bleak, and you can hear it in his voice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. LaFleur's got his hands full, and I don't know where LaFleur is as the emotional leader with this group right now. And it's slipping really fast because if you can't come up with X's and O's, you've got this tremendous challenge. Suddenly, overnight, now your roster is really wrecked with some serious injuries that are going to affect you for at least the next month. And in Rashawn Gary's case, confirmed for the season. I think Eric Stokes has got to be season ending. I would be just shocked if it was anything like that. And a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who I don't know, is kind of an indifferent cat. He's never been the vocal leader. I'm not sure how you turn this thing around right now.
No doubt. Let's do this. We'll step away. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We got a lot more with Mike Clemens coming up. Stay tuned. More of the Bill Michaels Show next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Pressure. Rodgers steps away, throws, it's intercepted again! It's Joseph again! Kirby Joseph having the game of his season here today. He's got 2 off Rodgers.
Play comes in, we get executed. And, the kid made a nice one down the middle, but the other 2, I probably should have just checked out that play and hand the ball off or adjusted the route in the first one. There's a lot of things that go into that. But, we had a couple chances. For sure. Can't lose a game like that against that team, though. So that's going to hurt for a while.
Can't lose a game like that against that team. Ooh, some strong words towards the Detroit Lions to basically call them that team, insinuating they're not that good. We should have beat them. For all intents and purposes, probably true. Mike Clemens joining us on the hotline. He's brought to you by the Bay Motel in Green Bay. Quiet, cozy, comfortable, and just a mile from Lambeau Field. Perfect for that family stay as well. That's the BayMotelGreenBay.com. BayMotelGreenBay.com. Call them for reservations, 920-494-3441. And if you're just over that direction, maybe you stop into the Bay Family Restaurant featuring home-style cooking 7 days a week. They're right there on South Military Avenue in Green Bay. Again, 920-494-3441 or go to BayMotelGreenBay.com. So, Mike, the loss is the loss. And now, man, oh, man, now you got to figure out how you're going to, get yourself, some weapons to get downfield. Same old stuff. I mean, I could basically play the record from 2 weeks ago and it would sound the same.
By the way, that clip of Aaron Rodgers right there, they were replaying over and over again on the sports stations here in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
They were having some serious fun with that. Hey, I was outside we were waiting for the Packers locker room to open, and all of a sudden there came that kid that made that pick there, the Kirby Joseph, even though he had that vicious helmet-to-helmet collision with his teammate Okuda, they were able to return to the game. So that was good news there. But he came over and did a jersey swap with Tariq Carpenter. I guess those guys got to be friends at Combine or something. But just a side, it's interesting to see those kinds of moments with the players connecting with each other, these 2 rookies that are now in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, at his press conference, first of all, he was drained. I mean, he was emotionally and physically drained after that game. And I thought one of the things that stood out was, what is this guy doing running out of the pocket on this turf? And there's a lot of times where he's getting first downs for his team and sliding. And, that's, it was needed. He ended up having 40 yards total carries. He led the team in rushing. His longest was that one 18 yards where he got a first down, but he carried it 4 times out of the pocket. But, that just says to the duress they had in the offensive line. Bakhtiari had to leave the game and came back for the final drive. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Zach Tom, this kid, I was thinking about this on the way. We asked, why don't you run Elton Jenkins and David Bakhtiari on the same day so they can be in sync for a practice? And the answer is Zach Tom, is because, Zach Tom has got to practice at left guard now on Wednesday, and then he's got to practice at left tackle on Thursday. So that's how desperate they are at this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked Rodgers about this after the game. I said, you got all these players that are getting injured. You're running for your life in all these plays. How intense was this game today against the Lions?
Well, I played shitty, but I never gave up. And obviously I don't want to lead us in rushing, but I knew I was going to have to make some plays with my legs. And that's really moving forward, I'm going to have to keep doing things like that. But no, I feel like we never gave up. We moved the ball well in the first half, and I threw a couple picks in the end zone, took points off the board. So that obviously came back to hurt us down the stretch.
Yeah, 3 inside the 25-yard line or near the end zone picks. 2 of which were completely on Rodgers. Hitting a guy in a helmet, I've never seen that out of Rodgers before. Hit him square in the face. And then that pass to Bakhtiari, that was terrible. It wouldn't even have had Aiden Hutchinson not even been there. It would have been incomplete. It was so underthrown.
No, and there's a lot of questions too. Is what the hell are they doing throwing the ball to David Bakhtiari? If the guy's got a bad knee, why is he a receiver? I'm sure that Rodgers sold him on the idea. Hey, look, who's the last guy anybody thinks is going to go out for a pass? It's going to be David Bakhtiari. But he admitted he threw a bad ball on that one, which something. Well, I'll talk about this in just a second. Here's a moment that was my perception was Rodgers got emotional, in a sense of just, again, drained. He's just drained after this loss. And he was asked a fair question from a regular reporter from The Athletic who said, seriously, you've been saying, we'll get this fixed, and now you lose this one. How do you turn around? And when you hear this long pause, Rodgers puts his head down and is trying to think through this and maybe holding back some emotion. Here's how it went.
How do you, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in saying this, how do you believe that you guys can still turn around after you guys just lost to that team?
I've been counted out many times in my life, as have many of my teammates. And I hope we just dig deep and find a way. We will truly be underdogs for many games moving forward. Hopefully we can embrace that. We have 2 games at home. We got to go win those 2 games in a week, and then this thing looks a little different.
Mike, I don't know how they're going to win the next 2 games. I don't know if they're going to win another game the rest of the season.
Well, everybody's thinking start playing Jordan Love and get ready for the future and all that. And no. There's an adage that the franchise has. It's something that LaFleur started about. Hey, try and give me 1% more better today. Every day, try and do tomorrow better. And I don't think that you just start auditioning players and you tank to be in the draft. I don't think you do that and or decide if Jordan Love's going to be any good. What you do is you try and put whatever you can on the field this week and do your best job to defend the turf. And by that way, when Enagbari is in there now for Rashawn Gary, whose season is over with, he'll get better. And then you have to work at it every day. You don't just roll the helmets out and somehow plan for some super draft or super free agency and
make salary cap space. That never works. You have to get better as an organization. And if you have to fire some coaches along the way, do that. But, the big thing that's going on right here is Gutekunst. Has he gotten Aaron Rodgers enough help? And when it comes to your shortage of receivers right now, people think about that time, that Sports Illustrated photo when you had Greg Jennings and Jordy Nelson and James Jones and Randall Cobb and Jermichael Finn. You know something? It took years to put that roster together. And, you've got Greg Jennings. And then, the next year you drafted James Jones. And then you got Jermichael Finley. And you added Jordy Nelson. And then you put Randall Cobb in there. This organization under Goody was at 2008. They drafted 3 receivers 1 year. And then they went on and worked on, they got 3 running backs. And then they worked on offensive line. And then they used their top picks on defense. And that's why the cupboard is bare now. That's why. Because you weren't doing this. You've got to spread it out and bring in those players year after year after year. And they haven't done that. And then they try to fix it with the 2-3 picks they made this year in wide receiver, but clearly they've missed with Christian Watson. That could have been such a difference maker if the kid was half of what he showed in practice.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And it's not getting any better anytime soon. That's for sure. And now the questions become, what do you do? I mean, you got to get better the rest of the year. You hope to win a couple more games along the way. And then you've got to have a fast turnaround and commitment in the offseason. I think it starts there, and then we'll see. Mike, we're only unofficially halfway through the season, but at this point, I think what you're now playing for is to see what you've got and what you're going to have going into next year, right?
Yeah. And what do you do if you're Matt LaFleur? I mean, you don't go to Rodgers and say, are you coming back next year? Because I sort of need to know that now. I think if you're Matt LaFleur, you just try and win football games with whatever you can. And I think you need to stop worrying about whether you offend number 12.
Yeah,
and,
I would agree.
If I'm Brian Gutekunst and he says, hey, you're not happy that we didn't get the Claypool deal, that I didn't throw in a first-round pick. Well, let me tell you, if I was running this team, Mercedes Lewis would be gone. Randall Cobb would have never been here. There's 2 players I could have put on the list right there for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the one that hired Tom Clements. Okay, Luke Getsy, it was the last quarterback's coach. He's one that we hired, and he's doing a great job with Justin Fields. As I'm concerned, and Nathaniel Hackett, forget about what's happening with him. As a head coach, that guy was really good at installing plans and clearly, getting his point across. But right now, man, LaFleur, he needs help. He needs help, and he needs to start getting back to running the team 100% for him, and not just trying to keep Aaron Rodgers happy.
Mike, great stuff. I know you got to run. Do your thing, buddy, and we'll talk again soon. Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
Appreciate it, pal. There you go. That's Mike Clemens joining us for a couple of minutes, and a lot of the same stuff we were talking about earlier is a lot of the same stuff he just echoed, and probably more so in the immediacy than anything. Probably more so in the immediacy of anything. Coming up next, he's talking right now. Mike McCarthy. Yes! We're going to hear what he has to say about his return to Green Bay. That is coming up next. This portion of the program brought to you by our good friends over there at Pindell, a quality machining manufacturing company right here in our own backyard. That is New Berlin, Wisconsin. And good people over there. They, if you're looking to work for a terrific job, for a company that'll train you in both different aspects, whether it's the old style, the old spindle machining company, or the robotics, plus get you moving in a career, not just a job, that's Pindell. Or maybe you want to work with them. Maybe you've got some parts you need made and or machined, or a company that you work with. Refer them over. Pindell, Pindel. Go to Pindell.com. That is Pindell.com. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. It's coming up next.
Covering Wisconsin sports like a blanket. This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Bill Michaels will resume in 5 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 4 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Good to have you. Our friends out at Great Lakes Dragaway want to remind you that, hey, the season for drag racing pretty much over, but 2023 right around the corner. So for that person that has the need for speed in your life, go to GreatLakesDragaway.com. The season pass is available. You can also start marking down some of your dates if you'd like to run your vehicle. Close the track, rent it for an hour, rent it for a couple of hours, a whole day, whatever it happens to be. Get a hold of them. Go to GreatLakesDragaway.com. Don't forget, good stocking stuffer, GreatLakesDragaway.com. And I know it's a Christmas ad, and I'm not a fan of Christmas ads before Thanksgiving, but I'm just bringing it to you, letting you know. 877-867-1670. 877-867-1670. Take a listen. Mike McCarthy being asked, what do you miss most about Green Bay?
I mean, the lifestyle in Dallas, Texas is incredible. I mean, this has been an incredible opportunity for us as a family. But, Jessica was born there. Kids were born there. So, miss the people.
Mike McCarthy getting emotional about his time in Green Bay.
Just a little bit.
Wow. Jessica, his wife, his kids, all born in Green Bay. Mike McCarthy asked about Green Bay. It's still a tough spot for him, man. You still believe that he wishes he was the head coach of the Green Bay, but not now, of course, but you still wish that he was the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, it sounds like, right?
You got Papa Smurfy.
So, I mean, it was time. Don't get me wrong. He won a championship here. He did a lot of great things here. Will Mike McCarthy, Ben, be booed or cheered walking onto the field at Lambeau Field on Sunday?
I think if the team was really good, you can maybe hear boos. I feel like he's going to get cheered while Rodgers and LaFleur themselves will hear the boos.
If the Packers were, say, what are we, 9 games in? If the Packers were, say, 7-2 and rolling right now in the NFC, and in comes Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys also challenging for the top spot, I think Mike comes onto the field and gets kind of a smattering of both cheers and boos. He's the enemy now. But now you're like, boy, maybe you're living in, I'm not going to say regret phase, because I don't think anything was wrong. Anything was done wrong. The Packers moved on. They had success. McCarthy's moved on. He's had success. But I think Packers fans are smart enough to know that regardless of what you felt down the stretch, the guy helped you bring a title back to Titletown. That deserves some applause. And I think now that things are just foundering badly, you're kind of looking over there going, boy, what if, right? So I think he's going to get cheered. I think it's going to be a loud cheer, to be honest with you. But
Did you just listen to that question I just answered?
Yeah. He got testy at the end. There's no doubt about that. He got kind of high on the horse. So Jerry says, I'm going to give him a cheer. I wouldn't before, but I will now. Things are awful, and I wish we had him back with his record. Patrick says, Mike McCarthy deserves our ovation. He did a lot of great things in Green Bay, and his charity in the state of Wisconsin will never be forgotten. This is from Mohammed, who says, I really miss Mike McCarthy and the isms, but I do not miss his anger and BS. Will we see another Tyler Dunn article written about the behind the scenes of Matt LaFleur getting manicures? And it wasn't manicures. It was a massage. He wasn't getting a manicure. He was getting massages in the office. So there you go. And Angela says LaFleur is testy, post-game interviews and such now, right? He not as much right now, but going into that game in London, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. I'm still anxious to find out what it's not going to happen until either after this season or after things have changed, but something, and we may never know. I mean, come on, it's Red China. The only way to get in there is, to dig a hole, tunnel in, see if you can't drop a microphone somewhere inside Red China. You're not going to hear that. Nobody ever comes out and says this is what was going on. And let's be honest. Okay. Here's the other thing, Angela, and you bring up a good point. Here's the other thing. Even if, say, a former player comes out, say Bakhtiari gets cut loose, say Mercedes Lewis isn't brought back, or Cobb, somebody gets cut loose, and they have this vitriol to spew about the Packers, even if they do come out and say, hey, you know what? This is what sucked. Like Zadarius Smith, they treated me poorly. I felt like I was an outcast, blah, blah, blah. Immediately, Zadarius Smith was labeled as, you're a malcontent. They didn't pay you. Get the hell out of here. You're a Viking now. Every time somebody leaves, doesn't matter where they go, if they have anything negative to say about the organization, about the way they were treated or what went on, immediately it's discounted as bitterness. You can never look at it and go, you know what? Maybe there's some truth to that. We've heard it now 2 or 3 different times from different people. Maybe there's some truth to that. Okay. But we'll just lambaste it as, nah, he's bitter. He's not a Packer. He's not one of us anymore. Sometimes you need to listen, because even if you believe that, where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Everything that's stated, unless it's 100% made up, has some validity to it. Now, we know there are certain players that have gone off kind of the deep end, okay? We get that. But you still have a modicum of, even when you hear it from a former player, you're like, really? And then you're like, nah. And then people come at you on all the social media platforms if you post it. No, you're an idiot. It's stupid. It's clickbait and everything. It's like the other day, the general manager that basically belittled the Packers organization. It was in the Washington Post. And I get all these people that come out, clickbait, stupid. Nobody said that. I don't believe it. Okay, don't believe it. But that's how you got here, is by looking at everything through the green and gold glasses, going, anybody on the outside is wrong and a liar, and everybody inside the walls of 1265 in the palace, that's the only people I'll respect. It's the only people that matter. And I will just drink that Kool-Aid, and I will absorb everything that Red China has to throw at me, because I am the big Green Bay sponge. Sometimes you need to listen, So slap my ass with a grilled cheese sandwich. There you have it. Put that on a T-shirt. On the back of the T-shirt with an arrow pointing down. That's what you do it. But sometime we'll find out someday. Someday it'll happen. We'll hear a lot of what's going on behind the scenes. Sometime it'll come out. Stay tuned. We got a lot more of the Bill Michaels Show. Another segment yet to go. Hang in there. We'll be back right after this.
Ready? This is the Bill Michaels Show on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
Cool weather, brisk winds, and a hot deal. Hi, this is Gina Della from Pella. Is your home ready for winter weather? Don't wait. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years. When it's cold outside, thanks to Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, you'll be warm and toasty inside. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin can be installed in as little as a day, with little to no disruption to your family or your home. Plus, you'll get expert advice from our Pella specialists, professional installation by Pella's certified installers, and the excellent service our customers have come to expect. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin has products and warranty offers you won't find anywhere else. Don't wait for the heating bills to start piling up. Right now, put no money down, no payments, and no interest for up to 2 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Expires 11/30/2022. Certain exclusions and restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Bill Michaels will resume in 3 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 2 minutes. Bill Michaels will resume in 1 minute. Bill Michaels will resume in 30 seconds.
Now, here's Mike Clemens.
The Packers lose to the Lions 15-9 in a game filled with hard-hitting, penalties, and injuries for both teams. After the game in the visitors' locker room, Rashawn Gary and receiver Romeo Doubs, both on crutches. Aaron Jones' ankle injury was in a walking boot. Rookie Christian Watson suffered a second concussion in a week. Green Bay's only touchdown came late in the third quarter on a 20-yard pass from Aaron Rodgers to Alan Lazard.
It was kind of cool since I drew up the play, kind of in the huddle and everything, and I'm surprised 12 even called it. But so it was great and very encouraging for me and I think the offense to finally get in the end zone and to be able to cap off that drive the way we were able to do it.
With the win, Detroit snapped a 5-game losing streak. Lions quarterback Jared Goff spoke to reporters.
I'm so proud of these guys, man. It's so hard, and you guys don't make it any easier, certainly. But it's so hard to continue to do that, and we just do. We'll never lay down, and I know there's teams across this league that will, and we're not one of them.
So now the Packers have lost 5 in a row, mostly to teams they were favored to beat. Matt LaFleur asked if any of his players are showing a lack of effort.
Well, I would be concerned if I saw guys not competing out there. I didn't see that. I just saw us not taking advantage of certain opportunities and making way too many critical mistakes. When you do that, I don't care who you're playing in this league. You're going to get beat.
Aaron Rodgers under pressure most of the day, threw 3 interceptions, 2 in the red zone. I asked him if at 38 years old, he should still be running for first downs outside the pocket.
Well, I mean, I played shitty, but I never gave up. Obviously, I don't want to lead us in rushing. I knew I was going to have to make some plays with my legs, and that's really moving forward. I'm going to have to keep doing things like that. But no, I feel like we never gave up. I mean, we moved the ball well in the first half, and I threw a couple picks in the end zone.
From Detroit, I'm Mike Clemens on The Bill Michaels Show.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Bill Michaels Show continues on. This portion of the program brought to you by our friends over there at the Water Doctors. H2 the letter O doctors.com. That's H2 the letter O doctors.com. Get a hold of John Atley and the gang over at the Water Doctors, and whether it's the Connecticut Water Softening System or a donation to the Custom Canine Service Dog Academy, they do it all. Get a hold of them over there. H2 the letter O doctors.com. Again, H2 the letter O doctors.com, or call them 262-549-7733. 262-549-7733. Hit them up. 877-867-1670. Coming up tomorrow on the program, I'm going to talk with Rob Reichel. He's going to be joining us and give us his thoughts on this train wreck of a season. Mike McCarthy, by the way, on the conference call with the Packers said, I expect everybody from the Green Bay media to be in my press conference after the game. Okay. Is he making some kind of an announcement? How about that? He also talked about Aaron Rodgers saying, I have nothing but love and gratitude for him, meaning Aaron Rodgers. Whole lot of appreciation. He made me a much better coach. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I don't think they're going to dinner together, but nevertheless, that's what he stated. And we're going to hear more from Mike McCarthy coming up tomorrow on the program as well. Here's a piece of news that's sure to make our own Ben Kenney both be elated and cry, because the Philadelphia Eagles are now the odds-on favorite to not only win the Super Bowl, but Jalen Hurts is the new MVP favorite, according to Vegas, Ben. You now have been dubbed the Kings, which makes you sure to fail.
Yeah, that'll end well, like it did this weekend. I'm going to tell my grandkids about some of those moments. Bro.
Okay.
I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get over that. I truly don't.
Yeah, it's well, put it this way: Brewers fans still aren't over 1982.
Yeah,
so it's going to take a while.
He pulled the pitcher, a classic Nelson conversation in the morning about leaving your starters in to compete.
Yep,
it was their downfall. Idiots in Houston. Luckily, the show's at its end. I was going to go on a rant about Dusty Baker today. I decided not to.
For the reason of what?
He's not a good manager. Like, there's a reason he hadn't won before. You know?
Yeah.
There was a reason his teams kept falling short in big moments, and he managed terribly. And then the Phillies decided to stop playing baseball.
Well,
so everyone's giving all these props to him.
Yeah,
like,
but we've seen managers. I mean, Joe Madden, same way. They said Joe Madden completely got outmanaged in the postseason, yet the Cubs were still able to break the curse and win the World Series. How many managers have we talked about that they won a World Series in spite of? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Joe Girardi, 2009.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest question coming out of the weekend, the number one overall question was, why was Dusty Baker wearing black surgical gloves? I don't understand that. That's all. You know, you're shaking hands with everybody, you're hugging everybody, you're getting champagne poured on you, you're on a television set, you know, but you're going to wear black surgical gloves as if you're protecting yourself from something. I found that rather funny. There you go. That's it. I mean, it's still in a World Series. I know you've been doing it for a while, but still in a World Series, man. At least pull out the super clean white dust gloves or something like that. I don't know. Maybe leather mitts. Maybe leather. That would have been better.